calling the meeting to order at 7:37. I will. All right. We'd like to welcome our new trustees, Josh and Mark. Mark is kind of a recycles trustee. Believe in recycling around here. Good one, Robin, Mrs. Michael.
Hi.
Aaron. Aaron's our.
I think we met
At the book fair?
The book fair,
Yeah.
Aaron, Mike.
You guys both know me. Pam, Michelle, and it's Josh.
Josh, nice to meet you.
We have no guests, but we want to thank you guys very much for running and stepping up, and for Michael for rerunning, and of course Michelle. We will have to put that April minutes. Just for the record, anybody who was not at the April meeting can't actually vote to accept them, but please feel free to read them and update yourself on what's going on. You don't actually have enough people to accept them that were at that meeting. Right.
Aaron,
You voted.
Aaron, you and Michelle.
Right.
And Josh.
Can Josh vote on them? Because he was here, but he wasn't a trustee yet, so he doesn't know what happened at that meeting.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay. But we,
No, I don't think you need a quorum. I think you need a majority.
okay.
Someone who was there needs to make the motion and
Okay.
second it. But I think after that, you're good. Assign someone parliamentarian, please. Aaron, on the bottom of page 1, the last line says that the MAR increase, the MAR is not the 16%, it's actually materials expenditure requirement and ER.
This includes the, I'll just strike it.
Okay,
Do we need it?
no.
Oh, no, I was telling you about reading, that's right, yeah, all the time. I have to spell correctly. I didn't spell correctly.
No, it's okay. BEHRI-NGER.
Where are we?
Old business elections, bottom of page 1.
Your name? Okay, good. Because I was just trying to spell it for the
BEHRI-R.
BEHINGER.
You got that right, it's just that next E is an I. Yep, thank you.
Did I spell that wrong on everything?
I'm sorry?
Sarah, did I spell it wrong on everything?
I don't remember. I guess I didn't pay much
I
attention.
apologize.
That's okay.
I think I would have
I
noticed.
really didn't pay attention
I
to
wouldn't
it, so
notice.
that was no problem.
At least we got the K, right? Not a
Excuse me?
Not a C from
Got Mark right, she said.
I'm sorry?
You do use a K for Mark, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. You were still in my email, so I figured I'd heard.
At the bottom of the second page, is there an extra N? Value read.
I think that's supposed to be and. Did you abbreviate it?
The very bottom line.
Raleigh reads and other.
Okay.
Gotcha. Thank you.
One notes. Good morning to Vicki and capitalize Red Sox.
Probably not regarding commission.
Our notes. This will be
talk about everything.
Anything else on the notes?
I move to accept the notes with corrections.
Give a second. Josh, second.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Director's report. You want to start with April?
Oh, that's just under, it's a note to me.
To yourself, oh, okay. Yes, sure, that's the one I'm gonna have to do
You have it?
first. Answer report.
Is that one figured?
What?
Is that one figured?
Now there's two stuck together. So Girl Scout Troop 75124, there was actually, there were two Girl Scout troops. Both the troop that meets here Monday and the one that meets here Saturday helped with the cleanup day before the book sale. I have an update on the compressor. I got a quote from the HVAC people, and should that compressor fail, right now it's just running a little louder than usual, and it's a second stage compressor. Should it fail, it would run about $2,000 and take 30 hours to replace. So we'll hope that it hangs on. We're still looking at the ebooks, running about twice what they were even just a few months ago as far as circulation. I did go to NBLC membership meeting, and the representative from MLS was there, and they keep track of statewide statistics, and statewide circulation has pretty much leveled off with the economy improving. But ebooks are still, double and triple. So that's just something to watch.
Pam, is that on a monthly basis that they're,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. The statewide ebook circulation specifically is leveling off?
No, all other circulation is leveling off, but ebook circulation is still going up.
Okay, for us and everyone else.
Yeah, consistently. Programs going back to May, book and the bake sale was a resounding success. There was great weather. The computer classes for seniors are going strong. She did a basics class and then a beyond basics class, and next up is social media. I mentioned too that I've talked to, I guess I said this I wrote this report a long time ago, sorry. I did speak with Carl Hempe about something with the funds that were donated in memory of Jean Reith, who, if you don't know her, she was a volunteer at the book sale for many years as well, and she was a kindergarten teacher back when she was working. So the shelf that we had made with David's help and Eli's help, the custom shelf that the display is on out there was actually in memory of Carl's widow, Sheila. So we kind of talked about maybe something similar to that, but in the children's room, some kind of display. And her maid is actually talking to a local cabinet maker about doing that. So that's in the works.
Pam, will that, so when that is completed, that will be location similar to the last one we did for the shelf?
I mean, I guess we should talk about that because we might have 2 or 3 sort of acknowledgements that we would want to do publicly if we want to stage another event like we did in the past.
Does anybody have any questions or comments on Pam's April report that we would have gone over last month?
Yeah, that's good.
How did the demo go on self-check?
The demo and self-check went really good, and I think, are you talking about that later on in the agenda?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on there somewhere.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'll sum up briefly. We're looking at getting a self-check machine. We have the funding, it's a capital
What kind of machine, sorry?
self-check.
Self-check?
Where
Okay, right.
patrons can check out their own items. If
Yep.
they, So we put in a capital request last year, it's bonded, the money's there. It's just been such a busy year, we hadn't had the time to bid it out, so that's what we were looking into recently. 3M is the vendor that is, kind of has majority of the lion's share of the market for this type of thing, and they're also currently being used in several MVLC libraries, and they are very well recommended. However, since we need 3 bids, I looked at the MHEC contract and spoke to both Basecamp and Biblioteca, and Basecamp said, we had this new machine, and I'll come out and we do a demo, and I said, great, I'll invite, any other interested librarians to come and see the demo. And he said, great, I'll serve lunch. And at that point, and Janet knows the rest of the story, I called the ethics board and I said, I'm not sure that this vendor can serve us lunch. And the lawyer of the day was like, no, he can serve you lunch, but you can't do it in your meeting room. So, they rented a hotel room in Peabody, and we had, lunch and open house in a little function room.
But it was not just for Rowley either.
No,
It was for any
no, there was,
library and consortium.
so in answer to Michelle's question, there ended up being about 10 people there, probably 7 libraries, and there were representatives from Massachusetts Library System there too.
Oh, good.
So I think it, worked out really well all around. And it was great to, really sort of kick the tires on their machines and really see it work and ask questions, well, what happens if this and what happens if that, and, get to know a little bit about software. And in fact, he brought a lot more than self-check. He brought a scanning workstation, and he brought, what Basecamp does, and I'll get into this later on, but Basecamp builds peripherals, that's all they do. They're in the library market and they do receipt printers, scanners, barcode duplicators. And so they kind of realized they're building all these peripherals and selling them. All they need is a little software, and voila, they can sell a self-check workstation. So that's why this is kind of a new product launch for them. But the other thing that they had there that was very cool was a receipt printer that prints on a special roll that has sticky on it. So instead of us taking the slip and putting it in the book for the person on hold, we would actually put it around the spine of the book, and it would stick there. And that's for both privacy and also better viewing. So that was kind of, it was very cool. Cooler than I gave. My demonstration did not give it justice. But a lot of libraries have gone to not only patron self-checkout, but patron holds, which is ideal for, again, privacy and convenience.
What does that entail? You get to pick up your own hold items?
Yeah, they're on a shelf, not behind the desk, just out in the public stacks area.
And, elastic and...
Yep, yeah, and typically that, what displays on the printout is a code. It wouldn't be your name, it might be the first 3 letters of your last name and the final 4 digits of your barcode number.
Right.
And that, again, for your privacy.
So would they have to take it from the whole shelf and then do a self-check?
And then do the self-check.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. That would alleviate some resource issues behind the desk as well.
Mhm. Yeah, a lot of libraries are moving towards it. It really seems to be.
So how does the whole thing work again? They just do that by remote from home? Or?
You do it by signing onto your account from home with your library barcode and the password.
Mhm.
And then you can search the catalog, find what you want and place a hold.
Okay.
And
And
if we have it, they pull it from the shelf if they get there first.
Ideally, yeah.
And, but if another library has it, they ship it 3 days a week.
We get 4 deliveries,
4
a week, but
deliveries a
some
week.
libraries get 6.
And,
Okay.
yeah, then you just ask for it at the desk. You get an email or a phone call saying it's in,
Or text.
or a text.
Okay.
All right, I haven't moved on to the texts yet. I do email so far.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else on the May direct, or well, April director's report, David, sorry, I always do that. If not, do we have a motion to accept?
I'll accept the director's report as presented.
Second. All those in favor? Okay, thank you. We don't need to look at the budget because it's updated already, right?
The April budget would be
Okay.
superseded by the May budget.
Okay, so let's move on to the May director's report.
Thank you.
Coming from everywhere.
Is that the memo?
This is, May, yeah.
This one says May, dated June 18th.
I'll give you back this one. Yeah, because we just got the email.
I'm sure everybody got Janet's email regarding our library page who passed suddenly. At some point, we will talk about what kind of sort of legacy, something we want to do for the library in his memory. And if you didn't see it, the selectmen had a moment of silence at their meeting 2 Mondays ago.
I believe so.
So that was a nice acknowledgement. And we did have a grief counselor come also to the library. We had a lunch, and those of us who worked with Brad for many years and knew him well, remember him fondly, sort of share our memories on how we were feeling.
To see the brief one.
What?
Have you had any interest in the tech position?
No, it was just posted last week. And we're actually fine through the summer. When we increase our hours starting July 1st, well, Rosemary, I said in my April report that Rosemary suddenly moved to Maine. And Rosemary, when she had to give up her regular shift, was very enthusiastic about wanting to sub and wanting to fill in, and hopefully we can add more hours. And as soon as we did, she wasn't available anymore.
Kind of a long haul.
Yeah. So we had a meeting with the current staff and sort of, talked about what needs coverage, who's available to cover what when. And the Saturday, there just wasn't quite enough coverage on the Saturdays. So we're posting sort of an as-needed position that the person might work one Saturday a month or maybe every other Saturday. We'll see.
Was Tracy interested in Saturday?
She will take them if we give them to her, but she already works, I think, every other Saturday in Topsfield at that library, so she's happy to not have to work any here.
Okay.
So that's sort of still up in the air. Again, your search stats somewhat even, your ebook stats up there. Just for our newer trustees, when I refer to Overdrive downloads, Overdrive is the company that we have a subscription with, and we purchase 2 different formats of audiobooks. WMAs and MP3s, and there's also 2 or 3 different kinds of ebooks. There's Adobe books, there's Kindle books, there's probably 2 or 3 other formats I'm forgetting. So the Overdrive downloads, right now we just do the audiobooks and ebooks. There are videos available and music as well. In fact, if you didn't know this, and if anyone on TV did not know this, anyone in Massachusetts can get a Boston Public Library e-card, and with that card you can use the Boston Library e-collection, which does include video and music. And as I said earlier, it's only about 1.5% of our total circulation, but it is growing by leaps and bounds. And we are contributing. I have another thing to mention. I'm not sure if that comes later, but it's a shared collection between all the libraries in the Merrimack Valley Library Consortium. So that means, just similar to our in-demand print books, there's a queue and you wait, and when it's your turn, you get your downloads.
Should we start tracking this as a separate stat? Would that be useful, do you think?
Tracking, how do you mean?
How many Overdrive or ebook or museum passes? Like now it's just included in the circulation overall.
Oh, like a type, break it up by type.
Well,
I break it out by type, yeah.
But I'm just wondering if it would be helpful to have that broken out on your report or not, or how much of a pain that would be for you.
It's not a pain for me if you want it. I mean, like I
It
said,
would just
I
be
record
easier
it
to kind of
anyway.
see the increase in
Mhm.
ebooks and that sort of thing, like you watch the
I'll
changes
send
in
you,
search.
I'll send you what I keep. Maybe what I keep is, maybe it needs to be simplified more for you, but you can take a look at it.
That will make your report more difficult.
Just copy and paste.
Okay. I don't know if everybody realizes that summary, or who is the beneficiary of summer reading? Are we doing that?
I don't think we're doing a service portion this
Oh.
year. I don't think we are. As far as I know, the summer reading budget has not yet been approved.
Oh.
I know. I think for adults, instead what we're gonna do is have a weekly and maybe a grand prize, so people will read their books and turn in their tickets and be entered in a raffle.
Okay.
In past years, we raised money for a library in Haiti and also for the Valley Food Pantry. I'm just not sure that, I don't know that anything has been decided yet, if there will be a service portion of summer reading this year.
Okay. And my point was basically that what adults read counts somehow also. It's not just for the kids, so if you're
And-
reading, be sure to record those books.
And over the past, it's been 2 years now that we had summer reading for adults, and it grew quite a bit. It went from like 60 participants to 90 participants, and 250 books read to 450 books read, so people were into it. I think this is the only point where we talk about the server. I literally got this quote at 7:28 tonight. Jared and Rick were calling me with questions at 6:30. So I don't know if that's something we want to consider tonight, and I don't really have a lot of the technical details straight. Basically we don't have a formal technology replacement plan. However, we have 22 computers and a server, so obviously we could never afford to replace them all in 1 year, so we kind of do what we can each year to replace a few items so that we never have 24 7-year-old computers. The oldest thing in this building right now is the server, which is kind of why we're looking at replacing it. It runs on Windows 2003, which is being end of life, and it had some space issues. We actually had backup issues. We've kind of been limping along with it and putting Band-Aids on it for a little while. We don't do a lot with it. In fact, when this building was wired and networked, we were not members of the Merrimack Valley Library Consortium. We had a standalone circulation system. So that's what our IT plan was designed for. Had we been functioning then as we do now, we probably would not bother with a server and domains and everything that we have. But because we have it, we use it. We use it for policies. All of the public computer security is run by policy, and that is all stored on the server. All of our user names and profiles and all of that is stored on the server. And I think we've been talking for a while about other solutions, about partitioning one of the other hard drives and making that the server. We talked about partitioning part of town hall server and using that. And none of those sort of outside the box situations were really ideal. So we have a proposal to replace the server. And I'm sorry, I don't have a whole lot of copies. Do you guys want to share? Sure.
This is from PRS?
PRS, yeah. PRS has the contract to do IT for the town of Raleigh. So, but that's not including hardware. So when we look at doing IT projects, typically hardware comes out of the library budget and labor comes out of the town, the centralized town IT budget.
This would come out of Library.
Usually Library is where we purchase technology.
Not knowing anything
Mm-hmm.
about servers.
Mm-hmm. So the battery backup may or may not be needed. I didn't have the specs on hand. It may or may not have the capacity to back up, to protect a new server. And then the backup hardware, that's just a system of swapping out hard drives so that one's always off-site.
Well, I don't know much about servers either, but you said you looked into the town server, so would that, wasn't that a viable way to go? Or
It was not.
do you know why? Or, I mean, I'm just thinking that's probably a pretty robust high capacity setup.
And that's why we looked at it, because it is more robust than it really needs to be.
Yeah.
I think the physical distance was going to be an issue.
No.
Pam, maybe it's because this one is so old, frequently you need to go and reset the server, you need to actually be hands-on. Would that be an issue if it was locked in town hall?
Exactly, where they close at 4:30 and we're open till 8, I would be concerned about that. We're open on Saturdays as well. Yeah, if we needed to go and restart it for whatever reason.
Right.
Are we is the server being used for anything currently? I mean, is it just a network backup? I mean, you said you keep your documents on it, things like that, but is it just network space? I mean, what does it?
Policies and domain management is really all that's there right now.
With a new one, could the staff use it more to save their files on?
The staff should be using it to save their files on,
Because I
because
know
it
as you
is
guys,
backed up.
not only
Yeah.
that, but as they're covering each other's shifts, they kind of need to, if you're going from the children's desk to the main CERT desk, you need to kind of stop what you were working on to sit at a different computer.
And unfortunately, there's a children's folder and a circulation folder and a technical services folder, so they each have their own hard drive.
But that's what I'm saying, could you put them all on the same server? So that no matter where you were
They're
sitting,
all on the server, but they're still only accessible by user ID. So you have to be logged into circulation to access circulation documents. You have to be logged in as children's staff.
And the circulation documents are evergreen? And is it the
No,
software?
Evergreen is completely web-based. Evergreen is not stored on, nothing on Evergreen is backed up here.
Okay, so you could log off, you could restart and log in as yourself.
Yeah.
and
In
work as
fact,
yourself.
what Michelle's referring to, we do this a lot when you need to access documents in different parts of the building. You throw it on the server and get it done.
Okay.
But as a matter of course, as becoming habitual to do that, that will take a little retraining.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, but I just think I think that there would be so much more productivity.
And certainly if you're an administrator, login should access everything anyway.
Mhm.
Is there anything besides items that originate here in the library that are on the server? Are there, I'm not sure, library card numbers, personal information for customers?
No, everything to do with the ILS, the Integrated Library Software, Evergreen, is stored at central site, and they have the redundancy there in the backups. My computer has a backup on it. There's nothing even mission critical on mine. I mean, there's payroll documents, but nothing that couldn't be recreated. So yeah,
So this is just network storage? I mean, we
it
don't have,
also, the other thing that is managed on the server is Symantec, virus protections, and web security.
does everything go to the server for the firewall, or is that separate for external website?
Our website is not stored on site, it's stored off site.
No, I mean, for customers accessing, using internal.
So blocks on the public computers for like restricted sites?
Yes, yeah,
That goes
exactly.
through.
That goes through the server.
And this is prompted by the switch that,
Well, we've been talking for a good long while now about replacing the server. And yeah, I think it's probably been, we're about to enter a new fiscal year, and it was probably last fiscal year that we last looked at the wish list, so you may see that again next month with what's been updated and what's been added.
I think we talked about this at the same time we talked about getting a laptop.
Yeah.
For the library, which I know you're still waiting on quotations for, so. But that's another discussion.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. And again, it would be ideal to only have one day of downtime and replace them both at the same time. Although, given that we're closed every Friday, no one would really notice all that much. But we might need PRS to be here when they do the switches, so.
I was gonna say it's one sort of service call.
Right,
so it's
exactly,
as well.
exactly.
So did you have a couple different people quote this, or look at this, or this is?
No, because PRS is pretty much who we use exclusively for IT, because they have a town contract. They build this network, they maintain the network,
I see.
they know it inside out.
I see.
And they're good about troubleshooting with you at all hours of the day.
They're excellent. I've never had cause to question their service. They're fantastic.
And do we fall under the service contract?
Yes.
There are issues, okay, so we don't need to pay additional.
No.
So how long will this system be good for, what do we guess? Do we have any feel for that? This is a tough question to answer. but- these things get outdated quickly, right?
Right,
You need more
right.
capacity, or did they advise on that at all, or that's,
The
any
problem-
perspective on that? or-
The problem with the server now, there's nothing, like I said, we've added a hard drive, we've added memory, we've done a couple other things to the server we have now.
Today's server, yeah.
Right, which was dates to this building, so it would have been 9 years ago.
No,
So would we get another 9 years out of the next one? It just depends how quickly things
Yeah.
change,
Yeah.
software,
Well, no.
mostly software, Windows updates and.
And I might be missing on here, but what is the operating system that is supporting the server? And does it include?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's a very astute observation. Windows is not included on this quote because we would not go the normal route to get Windows. We would go through a reseller, and the reason for that is because a public library is considered educational in the eyes of Microsoft, so we pay a much lower rate than we would, it's $800 retail, it'd be $200 for us. And then each machine, which would normally be $34, would be $8. So we would purchase that separately and just get the site key, the volume license. Thank you, Josh, I forgot to mention that. And that, I'll just mention, is the reason that we're still waiting on the laptop, because the quote I got was charging us $675 for Office, and I said, no, you need to go back and check that. It should be $35, and I'm in the limbo of I'm one person buying one machine, I'm not a school district, so I'm not worth, the salespeople to call me back.
This is Lenovo.
Yeah.
We could just find someone for a second.
I think that's what it's gonna come down to, and I may even go to another reseller, just because I'm irritated with this guy for not being responsive. I may go to Best Buy, we'll see.
Do it before you do this one.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking into Gov Connection, which is specifically for government contracts, and then TechSoup. I'm on TechSoup for next year's software.
I think Journey is another one. They sell to charities, nonprofits, and
Mhm,
educational
mhm,
institutions at very discounted rates.
I have to say, I've not had happy consumer encounters over the past. Getting our Symantec renewed was a nightmare. And it's partly because of this, I've mentioned before that all these state contracts are new this year. So it's all new vendors, it's all new terms, nobody understands it.
So next year will be easier.
Next year we might understand it better, we'll see.
So Pam, is this informational, or do you want us to vote on this?
Do we have a schedule for this? For the switch now?
The switch is coming sometime in July, August,
So we probably should approve this if we're going to, so that it's all at once.
so we can do it all at once.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that I do have some, I'm hoping that, I'm pretty sure that MVLC will go with our schedule rather than us having to go with their schedule. Or Atreon or whoever they contract out to for the switches.
Okay. Does anybody have any further questions or concerns?
Do we have a comfort level that we trust that we need all of this, without having some?
The only
Other-
thing, yeah, like I said, I talked to Rick and Jared a little bit about what we're doing with it and what our needs are. He explained why the 600 gig was ideal, and that has to do with 100 gig for something and 500 for this other thing, and I think that has to do with the backups. Yeah, I mean, for example, you'll see there's not a monitor on here. I mean, they know to reuse
Yep.
parts.
Yep, yep,
Oftentimes I tell them to keep the keyboard.
okay.
And obviously the smart UPS, does the current system have a UPS system on
It does.
it?
And again, we're just not sure that that one would be robust enough. It may well be, but we'd have to look into it.
To handle.
Yeah.
So basically, in the case of something like that, what we would do is motion and approve up to this amount, so that if we have to buy it, we can, but if we don't, it just comes off and we reuse the one we have. And hope that we don't have to buy it.
What's the overall status of the budget for the library? Can you put this in context?
This,
Do I have it
we don't
already?
actually, you may have it in email, but,
Oh,
you don't have it.
It's in the
Oh, it might actually be in the
It's in
packet.
the main
we just got
packet.
it. In the
May-
main
in the
packet.
main packet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry.
Sorry, I'm looking at your documents in my computer, so.
So there's the director's report, and then there's the operating budget, and then there's the discretionary budget.
So discretionary budget is, for example, the state funds that we receive that is not part of our actual operating budget. And we
Yeah,
have-
this-
that's generally the lid, what's on there is lid May, or just May.
May.
It's just May.
That's,
All of these are discretionary, we have complete control over this one. It's
okay.
not part of the budget that the town does. It's state money, we've been the beneficiary of several wills. So it's that, it's trust, there's a trust on there, sorry, I had it open. And the MEG money is what we usually turn to whenever we have,
Which money, I'm sorry?
MEG, it says MEG.
I'll just go,
So,
I'll go through them quickly, that would be helpful. Donations are exactly what it sounds
Yep,
like.
yep.
The other thing with donations is we also sort of cycle through lost books, get paid for and replaced out of donations, that's why there's high expenditures in that one. The revolving fund is, copier, fax, printing, paper, toner.
That's if you print here, you pay a dime to print your piece of
Yeah.
paper, it goes into that
Okay.
revolving fund and we use it to buy paper.
The MEG stands for Municipal Equalization Grant / Library Incentive Grant. That's our state aid money. We get about $5,000 every year. And as you can see, we've been banking it for a while.
Yep.
Typically, I like to think of the MEG money as service improvements as opposed to building improvements. So things like technology, things like sending staff to conferences for continuing education.
Yep.
Those are the types of things we typically turn to the MEG account for. Public
So
libraries.
would this kind of go against that account then? or-
Yes.
That's usually what we do.
The 5,300 deposit, that's all we're gonna get for fiscal 13. And as you can see, we've spent that and then some. We did replace some workstations this
5?
fiscal year.
4 or 5.
4 or 5. We replaced all the staff machines and moved the staff machines to public machines last fiscal year. So again, this would happen next, but this proposal would come in the next fiscal year. And then the library trust fund, I'm skipping over the small ones.
Mhm.
The Emerson Trust Fund, that is a bequest that came to the town. The library is only one of 4 beneficiaries of that fund, and the 3,900 you see there is interest. That's about what we make annually on interest in that one. And that one is sort of where we do the building improvements, like when we have the building painted, that would probably come from the Emerson account. And that's not policy, that's just kind of tradition and practice.
Really, yeah.
The Jewett Building Fund, there's 12,000 in it, but it's not generating interest, so it will eventually, should we use it, that's all there is really. But we use that to fix the stone wall out front, and we may use that to paint the building.
That's what they're used for that one. then.
Right. And then the Bishop bequest is our newest bequest, and that was left specifically for equipment, materials, and expanded hours. So that's how we expanded our hours 2 years ago, although
So where did
we
that,
haven't needed it.
where did that money come from?
It was a bequest.
Oh, that's-
It was a bequest of 50,000, so it has earned for us, in spite of the fact that that's what we're using if we need. If we were, the fact that we are now open 40 hours instead of 34, if payroll increases because of that, more than, I mean, the town budget now is on par with that. But if that had happened, then we would have been able to use that money. The bequest, as Pam said, it was for materials, equipment, and hours. So those are the only 3 ways we can use that money.
And we haven't used any of it yet.
And we haven't used any of it yet, which is good news.
Yeah.
So we should probably talk about choosing more.
Probably.
We can consider that, yeah.
So that's, that,
Maybe
the answer to your question is
just
this is the status of
Yep.
what we call our discretionary accounts, meaning outside of the operating budget.
Right, thank you.
So realistically, our operating budget does not cover computers and things like that.
And unfortunately, because it should, because
Right.
you should replace a few every year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah,
we do, but we do it out of our state money, not our town money.
yeah.
So,
On the design of the system, I assume that this is package deal, and they're not going to, okay, we don't want to go with, 10K RPM drives.
Oh, no, they're gonna build it for us. They'll build it whatever we want.
Okay. But I mean, if we went to them and said, we really don't need a 10,000 RPM SAS drive, we could go with a 7,800 speed drive. I mean, we don't use it as enough to, but you're talking about $100 difference in price on the drive. So
Right.
he would swap that out, or would he say, look, we're getting piece,
No, they would work with us if we needed to, slim it down budget-wise.
if you have suggestions, because I certainly don't.
I don't know what that means, Josh, so.
it's just a high capacity drive doing a lot of tasks at once.
Well, do we need back you in how many public computers we have here.
Yeah, you might
What-
have,
What is the server doing in any given time?
That's what I was gonna say,
I mean, the
public
traffic,
computers
the
are-
traffic's all going through it.
Yeah.
The average person won't notice the difference between 7,800 and 10,000. If the drive was backing up 8 computers at once, you'd probably see, you might take an extra 2 seconds as opposed to.
I don't know what we have currently, but the public computers are painful right now.
Yeah.
They're so slow. I mean, I don't know, like I said, anything might be an upgrade over what we have now.
Right.
But the workstations that are running, they're the wrong, I mean, they're not pulling data from the server. right?
Well, the internet traffic is going through the server.
So would that make a difference on the internet traffic compared?
Probably. I mean, depending on it depends on the server is set up to filter with information. I mean, I would say it's more of a switch
I mean,
issue.
yeah, it goes through proxy
With
and,
10
yeah.
computers still, speed-wise.
I mean, I can certainly ask why, what am I asking about? What needs to be so fast?
I know, I'm just wondering if, I mean, really, I'm asking more along the lines of if certain pieces we don't feel are necessary, then can we, swap them out with something a little bit different? But I don't think the price is unreasonable.
Okay.
So, for what it is. The 10K drives, it just thing pops out to me that they're very, they're high end, but they're server drives, I mean, obviously, but I don't think our server really functions more than, to the extreme that some servers do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, we have a new IT guy, looks like.
We'll keep a badge for that.
There's a reason why they get teeth.
It would be interesting to compare, like, what do we have now, to see how much of an
Mm-hmm.
upgrade this is. At the same time, I've sat out there and I've listened to the profanity of the people waiting for their email to load, so, and I've used some myself, so.
Just see if there's something that's an example.
Okay.
I think it's a network speed issue or a drive issue.
When you talked, we were talking with Jeff about this, right?
I talked to Rick and Jerry.
Did they say anything specific about if this would help that issue? Because I know we've been working with them to try to troubleshoot that speed issue.
Yeah, that speed issue, I mean, I'm hopeful that the new server will address it.
But that's still sort of a mystery.
It's still sort of a mystery.
Okay.
And it's still, in fact, I restart it every week just because.
Right. And I know we were trying at one point to restart just a particular
Yeah,
software.
every Friday, yeah.
And maybe Josh can take a look if he knows more about this than the rest of us do,
Mhm.
and try to help with that too. Our patrons would be forever grateful.
All right, so those are good follow-up questions. Will it address the speed issues?
So do we want to take a vote on up to that amount of money, or do we want to get those questions answered first?
I think we can do an up to.
That's my, my sense of this, just looking at it from afar, doing a deep dive on all the technical details. Sounds like it's high time to get this thing. I guess that, the slowness that you mentioned, Michelle, I mean, as we discussed it, I mean, that'd be one thing, it'd be nice to have that addressed, right?
Right.
I mean,
Whether this
the
will
one thing
cost-
that
Yeah, I've been there too. There's literally like a mutiny, like all of a sudden,
Yeah.
all traffic just screeches to the
Oh,
side.
yeah, and they all look at each other like, did you just get bumped? Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
but this would, I would think this would address that, but I mean, I'm just kind of surmising, but.
it depends how, if the computer's just being used as a pass-through for a firewall to send data to the other computers, it's more based on the CPU than it is on the drives. The drives are, they're just storing a little bit of data, just swap file space basically. So that really doesn't, it's not really affecting the speed that the other computers are having. The other computers probably having issues the other computer's probably having issues because they themselves are slow computers. But, I mean, is everybody connected here through the Wi-Fi right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how's your speed right now?
It's doing okay
Smart.
right now.
And I would assume that the workstations, they're hardwired in those, they're not
Right.
Wi-Fi, right? I would assume that they're probably, should be running at the same speed. And so I don't know if they're, each workstation has too many tasks going on.
Something, yeah, I don't
And
know.
I think that's probably what it is.
Or something one person is doing is crashing the whole thing, and we just haven't
Right.
caught it yet.
Right,
Oh, I don't know, I've been in here and it's very quiet and it's still pretty, yeah, definitely.
I would say that the workstations
But
are
that
probably
person might
all
have just
doing
left.
something
It's
in
true.
the background. that they-
That is, I might have
Yeah.
crashed it and run.
Are these the consultants that would help you understand that problem, or is
Yeah.
that some, they are?
And I don't think that's a bad price for this.
Mhm.
If you do decide you want to do your price, I'd say that's.
It seems like it's something we should vote up to that amount. I'll give my sense of it. I don't know what others think.
I agree.
I agree.
Start somewhere and start upgrading it after 9 years or whatever it's been.
Exactly.
But we should try to get with them and address some of these other side issues, and
Absolutely.
concerns
Mhm.
as part of it as well.
Mhm.
Right, could we then get a motion to that effect?
I'll make the motion.
A motion to,
Spend up to, you have to do the whole motion.
A motion to spend up to $3,109.95.
To purchase
Awesome
and
server.
Server and all the, peripherals
from Meg,
from Meg.
thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Second.
I'll second.
Josh seconded that, I believe.
Thank you.
It includes labor and everything else for
Yep.
maintenance.
Well, the labor comes out of the central town IT budget. There's a line, PRS is contracted with the town. As a town department, we use them, we use their consulting, we purchase our own hardware, but all labor and service is under the town. Yeah, so in fact, we can't do this until July 1st, because as I understand, it's used up for the year, but.
We're not expecting to have the actual labor
Right,
until
right.
after July anyway.
Exactly.
Which is not that far away.
So there will be labor in addition to this, but not out of our budget, out of the town budget.
All right.
And door windows. Michael, can your motion also include the cost of windows purchased through another reseller independently?
Okay, well now you're asking all so much. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, approximately. Sorry, again?
Under 500,
Okay, so up to
or
500
between
total.
400 and 500.
Yes, my motion can also include
500 for,
separate
Windows,
operating system.
windows.
for windows.
When you first said windows, I was like,
Okay. Josh, do you still second?
I will, to include up to $500 spent on Windows Server?
Yes.
Okay, or an operating system for a server system?
An operating system, yes.
I don't want to limit us to Windows if
Something else should come
You
along.
want to install
maybe
Linux
someone else
first?
uses Linux system, we can throw that back in.
Run on Linux.
Yeah, 25 years ago, yeah, or 10,
all right, is there anything else on the
toolbox.
May director's report, which is where we started from?
I think that's good. That was good about 25 minutes ago.
Okay,
I'll accept the May director's report as presented.
a second. All those in favor?
Right?
Sorry, we didn't actually vote on Michael's motion. All those in favor of the server purchase and the company operating system?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Let's get this down right. Okay. Is there anything of note on the budget? Anyone
Well,
would like to?
We should look at the budget, just because this is the last snapshot before the fiscal year ends, July 1st. I did get the final light bill today, it was $917. So, we're looking at, right at this moment, probably about a $3,000 surplus. basically in electric and gas, yeah. Our two, we talked about this before, we sort of have a cushion built into our utilities just because we were gonna get that year. And, you know, unfortunately, where we really need the cushion is repairs, because we do have to replace that compressor or some other thing. But it all kind of works out at the end. And as you can see, we've overspent on materials, which is always good. We have to meet that threshold of 16% of our total budget.
Budget.
I'm sorry?
That's the wrong budget.
Yes, you must have April's budget.
I thought I had the wrong one.
It might have reverted back.
I get it, okay, keep going. Okay.
So utilities are basically done for the year. We had one interesting thing about 3 weeks ago. I was like, okay, time to start looking at year end, where we are for year end, and I realized we hadn't paid a gas bill since January. So I just all of a sudden stopped getting the emails alerting me to our bill being ready and didn't notice, but anyway, we're all squared up now. I did, and actually the 4,500 that's in the most left column for the gas, I already took 500 out of that. We needed more for water, we needed more for repairs. So I did kind of move things around from where they started at, but I don't too much because you do want to be able to see what you've overspent from what you planned and what you've underspent.
What do we do if we don't receive the trash bill by the end of the fiscal year?
Oh, Jack comes to this library once a year, he walks in and hands me the bill, usually on June 30th.
Okay. Great. All right, as long as we've got that covered. I mean, I know we only get it about once a year,
Yep.
so.
Yep, usually June 30th.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we have some salary left over, and is there any projects that, oh, we
We
don't have any
really don't.
Yeah.
We really don't.
Because there's still another week.
Yeah, that's 2 weeks of payroll.
Mhm.
That's, yeah.
So basically, we're in pretty good shape.
Yep, and I have some standing orders with some vendors that, you know, on June 28th, I'll say, put it in tomorrow or put it in July 1st.
Because we can pay it later, but it has to be incurred,
Right.
the bill has to be received.
Right, right. So I don't anticipate any big surprises in the next 2 weeks, but one never knows. So no, I think we're in good shape to close out the fiscal year. Thank you.
As usual.
It's neat, I like that the salary worked out, because I know when right around Christmas, you had the staff working extra hours to do all that shelf reading, which is very much needed,
Mhm.
and that worked out perfect.
And I realize that trying to get them to commit to a project in June just didn't work.
Yeah.
So having to do the project in the winter, once we could project out what overages we have in salaries, yeah, that worked out much better. The other thing that I will mention about the operating budget is all of the costs related to the long-range planning. We hired a consultant, we've had some printing done, and we had some refreshments at the meetings. Those all came out of the operating budget. We had thought they would be discretionary just because it's kind of a one-time thing, but
There was room.
there was room and it made sense, so.
Okay. When is the next, oh, well, come on. Never mind.
I'm sorry.
Never mind, I won't get off track.
Okay, I think that's all I have to say about the budget.
Anybody have,
I move to accept the May budget,
a budget report?
May budget report.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. 375th, any updates on there?
375th, as far as the planning committee, they have pretty much gone on hiatus for the summer. They've also not reappointed many of their members because it was a committee of like 30 people. I'm sorry?
They're running into a quorum issue.
They were running into a quorum issue, yeah. You couldn't,
You should have to have.
you needed a quorum to sign the bills.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
So
So they have a lot of volunteers in a
So
certain
now they have,
committee.
now they have like a 5-member committee, and pretty much everyone else who was appointed is now just volunteering.
Are you
We're
appointed?
forming friends, right?
No. Talk to Cindy about this. No.
No, am I allowed to?
I don't think they're, incorporating or anything, but yeah, they're sort of working on a volunteer basis. And now that you mention it, Phil was our representative from the board. So, come fall, if we want to have a representative.
So Joan is one of the volunteers, are you one?
As far as I know, Joan's gonna,
Yeah,
again,
yeah, she's
now that they're
representing.
volunteers, you kind of,
People don't have to.
right.
Okay.
I'm assuming they will. I'm gonna continue to serve.
Well, and we could, no, okay, I was gonna say we could go back to our original plan and maybe like making sure someone is there, but then you want to kind of be up to speed.
Yeah. And I think when things pick up in the fall, like they're really gonna pick up, because then it's gonna be, now everything's.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's pretty close in time. I'm
Exactly.
surprised they're taking
So,
that.
they do have a good idea of what will happen in the summer of 2014. It's just a matter of making it so. And they did get their articles passed the town meeting, so they have some seed money, they have a revolving account.
Good. Okay.
What was the first thing you said before revolving account? They have
Seed
their
money?
Seed money, okay.
So for example, if they wanted to print and sell T-shirts,
Yeah.
or even if they wanted to mail letter, I mean, they didn't have postage money, like how do you do anything without seed money?
And what did they get, 10,000?
Okay, so the update is basically that everything's on hold for the time being.
Yeah,
That's all right.
but for where they are, I think they have a good solid grasp of what needs to happen, and I think it's gonna be a really fun celebration.
And when will we hear about our grant for Rowley Reads?
We should hear about that in July.
Okay. Did I circulate the list of books to you too? I know I sent it in one of our trustee emails somewhere along the line, but, we are trying to do a Rowley Reads program where we get as many people as
We
possible.
are doing.
We are doing it, I'm sorry. We're trying to get a grant to do it. If we don't get the grant, we'll be looking at our donations funds. But we're hoping to get a grant that will support this. And there are 6 books that we are considering.
Yeah.
And so I can forward that list to you, or Pam can, or the other. Because we are asking folks to read them and then speak up on which one they believe would have the broadest appeal. And also would provide opportunities for programming activities, things like that.
You don't have to read all 6.
We would love it if you would read all 6, I'm working on it.
What I've been suggesting is read the ones that you think have no appeal whatsoever. Like, read the ones that you find most distasteful. And if you find anything redeeming in them, then, you know what I mean? Like, if it's a no-brainer, like, yeah, this would be a fun book, don't read it, it's a fun book. Read the more talented ones.
So when is this gonna launch?
It will be in part as part of the Rowley 375th. And we try to, well, Pam and another committee, smaller committee, did most of the research on the original list, which then became the short list. So there's a book that sort of involves, there are really no books on Rowley. So there's a book that is a fiction book on witchcraft in Salem, sort of. It
takes place in
it's a
Essex
current
County,
day,
yeah.
right? It's an Essex County book. It's the only fiction book on there. There are several memoirs that have to do with farming,
Yeah.
that sort of thing, or the
Right.
Appalachian Trail, so.
Or maritime culture.
Yeah.
Right, so we try to stick to issues unique to this, or,
Local.
local, not
Yeah.
unique, but local to this area.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're a reader, I hope you are,
Or listener.
or a listener, you can listen to these books.
Yeah.
And that's part of one of the reasons we need the grant, is we want to make sure that when we move forward with this, we have it on audio and in large print, and, so that anybody who wants to read it or listen to it or get their hands on it somehow will be able to. So.
Okay.
I happen to only own one of them, I think, and that is the book called The Dirty Life, if anybody wants to borrow it. I bought it one time. I liked it, I know you didn't.
I
liked
did
it.
too.
Sorry.
Lion. It actually got me interested
So-
in looking at the CSA.
Anyway,
So where is the list? I'm sorry, where is the
well,
list?
we'll email you the list, either Pam or I will email you the list.
Okay.
COD is still on the list, and I own that. I can
Okay, so we have 2 issues of Cod, the biography of the fish, if anybody wants to borrow those. That one's very low on my list for the record.
And Michelle and I talked about this a little bit more. In the Heart of the Sea, the tragedy of the Welsh of Essex was on our short list. I read about halfway through and I was loving it. And then Amesbury announced that they were doing their community read on that book
This year.
And I said,
problem with that.
Well, that's
but
what
you
we're
know,
talking about.
it was very low profile. I don't think it would
think
really
it-
be a problem to do it again. I really don't, because they didn't do very much.
In addition, we can buy their leftover books.
Well,
Possibly,
yeah.
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah, there are big collections of books being swapped out all over the state, 'cause,
So there's a possibility that you could get discounted books.
so when that one sort of got knocked off the short list, we said any of the Linda Greenlaw memoirs would be replacement for the so-called maritime theme.
Then probably the next one I'll read is Essex, because I really wanted to.
Did you read Finding Atticus, or Following Atticus?
I haven't yet. I've only read 2 of them, it took me so long.
You
to
read Following
read
Atticus?
one.
No?
I've checked it out
Started
twice.
out.
I'm almost done this time. I try to read and listen to too many things at once. That's my problem.
So anyway, we shouldn't have this discussion now, but at some point we will be discussing which book to do, who to hire, what programs to have.
And that's,
et
you know,
cetera.
as you're reading them, think about events and activities for all generations that can
exactly.
be, you know,
Right.
for that,
And how many
Topic.
other people might be interested in reading it. 'cause
yeah, the broad-based
Specific,
population.
no one.
Yeah, like we were concerned a little bit about the novel, because it's a little romancy, a little mystery, and
I would be
Just-
curious
just
to
to
hear you
have-
guys' take on that one.
Yeah.
Well, and John read
John
it first
liked
for
it.
that reason,
Yeah.
based on Pam's, read the one you think you would
Not
like the least, and he actually liked it. So.
We'll have more
And
discussion
I'm
about
trying
it.
to get
We'll have
more
Are you talking
discussion
about the physic book of
The
the
Dolores
Day?
Dane.
Yeah. I can look and see if I have the email handy, but I want to keep this rolling. Next on the agenda is actually election of officers. This is always a little bit weird because we have to do it for the new fiscal year right after elections. You guys are brand new, you don't really know what you might want to do or not. But presently, Erin is our clerk, Michelle is vice chair, and I am chair. If anybody's interested in any of those positions, feel free to volunteer yourself to be nominated by somebody.
Are we gonna do it tonight?
Usually, yes. Yeah, I mean, no, just say, hey, yes, and one of us will nominate you. I think all 3 of us are willing to continue in the roles. In which case, somebody just needs to nominate us and move on if you're not interested, so.
Yeah, I'll nominate all 3.
Can we do that? Okay.
I guess someone could nominate to keep the.
Present officers, okay.
Are those the only 3 positions, just chair, vice chair,
Clerk.
clerk?
Yeah, we don't have a treasurer or
No,
anything,
nothing
so,
else.
yeah.
Nothing else.
So really, that's about it, for actual officers.
Yeah.
So who officially?
I'll nominate.
Okay,
I'll nominate 3. I don't know if I'll nominate Erin Skillman as who's he? Secretary. I'll
Secretary.
nominate Michelle Ford as
vice chair.
vice chair, and I will nominate Janet Beatty as chair.
Second.
Mark seconded, thank you.
Are you on all that now, Erin?
Yes.
Okay. I guess we can vote for all at once, since we have no competition. So, okay, all those in favor of those?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. We're it again, ladies.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
for doing the survey.
thank you, Erin, for serving again.
Thank you, Michelle.
Yes,
Just click, 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 click.
No, wait, let's jump back to the store. No, we're good.
Been there. All right, excellent, that is the Old business, we have 4 items on old business. We kind of already have the update on the self-check machine.
Well,
Not really, okay. Just quickly, I know you took your state ethics test. Did you take yours yet?
No.
Okay.
I don't think,
Turned it in.
I don't think you have to do it again for
No.
me. I think
It's just a new,
Yeah.
a new
Okay.
elected.
You have to do it every 2
So,
years. So
so
I think you're
Website,
covered.
go through the training.
Yeah, and Josh said that technically you're supposed to have been done 30 days from election time, so the sooner the better.
I think so, that was on the handbook that
Okay.
Susan Reason gave me.
Okay.
Uh,
It doesn't take that long. But pay heed to my comment about printing the sales certificate.
Yeah, we saw you.
I said it will drive me crazy.
All right.
All right, so that one was easy. Website revision update. I'm just kind of going in below.
Yeah, so we're, as you know, it's sort of been on hold. We've been waiting for the results of the survey to come back. We've pretty much closed the survey, and we're ready to tabulate that. And then we can forge ahead with our website revision anytime. We've already contracted with the company who's doing it. They're called Pixel and Light. They're out of Connecticut. We reviewed this over the past year or so. I think everybody's had a chance to comment on our logos, but I can pass these around if you want to take a look at them again.
Have they come and taken pictures of the building?
No, I think the end of this month, or in the next few weeks, they're going to be coming up to take pictures. What I would like is to not have to make all the decisions about what should be where on the website myself, so if anyone, I don't think it has to be a formal subcommittee, but just like a working group of, help making those decisions. Obviously some things need to stay on the homepage and be static, other things need to change. I know from the results of the survey, calendar of events, we really should have, which we don't now.
Heard, they're like there anyway.
It's just in that little box in the very,
Yeah.
it's an awkward website.
It's very awkward. Yeah, I mean, it was great for 7 years ago, but we all know that it's, we need a new one.
Now, are the people that we've hired to do it, are they designing the website, or no, you're designing the website and they're just implementing it, or?
They are designing it. They're building it in WordPress, which will make content updates a lot easier for us as well. And they're pretty much pulling we're not really redoing the content, just the design, although we are adding a few pages here and there and updating what needs to be updated.
Where did we land with the Friends tab?
I don't know, we haven't really talked about that.
Because the Friends tab is fine, it's they have a form that's not compatible, right?
And that form is now moot because we're using Constant Contacts for the newsletter.
That's a good
The
point.
form was to sign up for the newsletter, and now we'll just get a button from Constant Contact.
That's a good point.
So as far as the logos, which is sort of the first step in our design, because obviously everything else on the website will be on this color scheme and et cetera. The big winner was number 4. Everybody really liked the front door. They thought it looked inviting. Josh pointed out that you can't just picture this, what you're looking at now. You have to picture it, 5 Xeroxes from now, black and white. And I think that the door will be less attractive in the lesser resolution.
We'll lose some of the definition.
You'll lose a lot of you'll lose a lot of the detail. So at this point, we can just give them feedback. We can say, hey, we like the font in number 1, but we like the picture in number 6, or we don't like any of them, go back to the drawing board. But they're waiting for our feedback.
I'm sorry, what was your comment about the black and white, like on 4?
Well, just that if you're viewing something that's been photocopied 4 or 5 times,
okay.
it's not going to be, it's going to lose.
Yeah, I just didn't hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
But isn't, that will happen regardless of the image, just because you photocopy it so many times, right?
Well, but if you're talking about something that is basically in 2 colors, if it's just black and white and it's a very, abstract, shape, that shape will carry on, whereas if you're dealing with a lot of details, and then also primarily dependent on the color schemes. You know, as soon as, like, I think I turned one of these into grayscale, and because they're equal values, a lot of it just kind of blends together. You can't even tell what the shape is any longer.
And we're very cheap here, we don't print anything in color, so.
And we recycle.
It's a very good point. I think the, you know, the top part of that, the building that would stand out more.
The cupola. Although, I can't tell you how many people said to me, we have a cupola?
Nobody knows we have, they don't associate it with the
Yeah.
library.
It's
What
not,
if we were to take like the window one, maybe without as much, the grayer one, I don't know, I'm colorblind, so, and put it with, next to the Rowley Library like this, so like a blend of 6 and 4.
So number 4, but instead of this square picture, the square
The
picture on
window.
6.
Instead of, right. And I really do like the front door, but I understand
Yeah.
the problem with
Well,
it.
I mean, the symbolism of the door, you know,
Yeah.
like
And it's
that.
very recognizable on the front of the building.
people said it's inviting,
Well,
it's welcoming.
Or we could ask them to,
It's an education.
right,
Mhm.
we could ask them if there's anything they could do to make it more photocopy friendly
Right,
also.
right. Simplify it and yet still make it recognizable.
But I think if we
Black
did
and
use,
white, I just do it in black and white. If we're not, if you're gonna print it in black and white, then don't have it
Right.
printed up in color, just to ask.
Well, we'll
them
want
to
it
do
on
that.
color on the website.
On the
That's
website.
only-
Yeah.
But we'll want to see what it would look like in some format where we could photocopy it 16 times.
Plus then, not only will this live on the website, this will be on the letterhead and
Right.
the bookmarks
Right.
and the
Yeah.
totes and the
Letterhead,
forever.
yeah, in fact, I have a whole list of documents and they'll give us all the files. And typically with design, each one, it gets tweaked a little bit to be appropriate to what it's for.
and,
You know, like, number 2, people said is very historical, but I think it's also just, I don't think it
Doesn't pop.
will photocopy well. I think it's just too dark.
I don't like the brown color either. so
Yeah.
That's just.
Number 3, the font, I mean, it's cute, but that's the problem with it too, it's cute.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I think, I really like the font in number 4, I think it's dignified and,
The word Rowley starts to look really strange after a while.
it doesn't it though? I really like the idea of using the windows, I think that is our signature, like architectural flourish, especially because they're matching town hall, but I'm not a fan of what they did where it's just sort of cropped like that.
Would you rather a full window?
I don't know.
I honestly didn't even know that about the windows. It was just arbitrary, but we actually have those windows.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay,
They
so they're
were
not as
duplicated.
noticeable as
They
I
were
thought.
duplicated
Over the door, you
for the
can see
whole,
them.
Because I was gonna say, if you went with the logo, then, you know, either one, now that I know about the windows too, if you went with that, then people would actually associate us with the cupola or with the windows, or,
Mhm,
you know, even if they didn't know about it.
mhm.
So how big of a concern is this photocopying on like 4 here? I mean, I look at that, there's a lot of black and white contrast.
I mean,
in that
I can
board.
certainly
Is
try.
that really gonna
For
be that
example, you'll lose the shingles,
big?
Does it,
you know.
I'm just wondering what documents that are going to be photocopied that many times?
Yeah.
As long as we can still read the Rowley Public
Right,
Library
you know, and
words.
that might be only in-house stuff, you know.
And it's never gonna suit every single, you know,
Right.
like, I was just putting it out there that, you know, if we did decide that the majority of the things that we're going to be printing on are going to be,
Black and white.
you know, black and white, or smaller, or, you know, then.
I think it was smart, like, I liked number 2 the best by far, until I considered that, and then I said, no, the black on brown doesn't make sense. So it does make sense, but we may be splitting hairs between, like, literally.
But for
shades of
example,
gray.
like, you know, the meeting room application that people fill out, you know, things like that that are sort of on letterhead that just get, yeah.
But people may realize too, it's a photocopy,
Right,
and,
right.
you know, anything that has to be perfect, like a program to a, you know, dedication or an event
Anything
or something,
official would be
we
printed.
Yeah.
Special, exactly. Yeah.
So we could kind of just go back to them and say, can we be a little bit more assured that number 4 would photocopy well?
Mhm.
And/or can you do something with the window next to the text about number 4
Okay,
or something
yeah.
like that? Is that,
Yeah, I like that.
okay.
Do we-
Michael, any
okay.
comment?
Although, I mean, I think the cupola is an attractive image here, but if everybody kind of agrees that like even though we have it, no one ever noticed it.
I
I'm just
noticed
gonna
it.
let that go.
I knew we had
Unless
one,
you
but I-
feel strongly that it's a feature that you want to
Yeah,
make known.
I do think the door or the window is more an open thing. for the
Yeah.
library.
I drove by and I noticed the cupola, I'm like, oh, okay, but I didn't notice.
Yeah.
But you saw this,
I didn't see the cupola, but not until,
Mhm.
when I saw these logos, I was, do we have a cupola? And then I drove by.
Yeah.
Okay, there.
Well, maybe this is a way for everyone to be like, oh, look.
Right, and then you start associating that image with,
Although, I want it painted before people start looking at it.
Okay.
This is really bad shape.
Is there anything else on that one?
No.
No.
No, other than be thinking about if you want to be on the design and help group.
Okay, self-check, back to the self-check machine. What do you have to talk about there?
Well, I have our 3 quotes.
Or will we do the next
Yes, these are 2 of them.
which is helpful.
Yes, this is based in 3M, which I had ready for everybody in April. And again, we kind of need to share. And I only have 1 copy of the biblioteca.
Oh, sorry, you need one back.
So this is one? Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, and which one? Which one is-
Did you send it out?
Well, Janet's gonna open up.
Well, Justin can share it,
Okay.
I think.
I can open it too, if you need that.
I think so.
Okay.
now the RFIDs, are they already in the books?
We are not going with RFID.
Okay.
This is just a barcode scanner.
What was that question? I'm sorry.
I was asked about RFIDs, if we had them in books currently, like when you walk out of a store with something, you've got to, set up an alarm type
A
of thing.
security tag.
Right,
Yeah.
all tags and trade.
Radio frequency identification.
Okay,
And, no, we would not be going with that product.
gotcha.
That, it would be a much more expensive proposal because we have to apply it to every item.
Cheaper to replace the book.
Yeah, so we're not proposing doing that. This is just a simple barcode scanner. But I think any of these solutions are RFID compatible if we wanted to upgrade in the future.
And so Pam, to start, what did the bond have, was
So we
7,500?
bonded out $8,000. And we got that number because a year ago, we had a 3M quote that was for $7,500. The 3M quote is now $9,000, which I don't think is a deal breaker. I think we just would have to dip into other funding.
And it's a select thing, right?
Oh, right. And then I said, wait, it was $7,000 before, and they said, oh, that's a different machine.
Okay.
So we would pause if the difference on that.
Yes. So then, as I said, I looked to Bayscan and Biblioteca, and I emailed them both on the same day, have your sales rep contact me kind of email. And in the time that Bayscan flew out all their stuff to Ohio and did a demo here, I had not even heard back from Biblioteca. I heard back from them like last week. And the guy just called up like, I'm just following up on your web inquiry. He didn't even say, sorry, we have a backlog, it was 6 weeks ago. He was just like, hi, can I get you a quote? Yeah. So I have the quote here for $12,000, but I'm not really considering it because I wasn't really impressed with actually it's,
Their service, or lack thereof.
right. Yeah, so actually it's $8,400 because it's on sale. The list price is $12,000.
That's biblioteca.
Biblioteca.
Okay.
And I don't know anything about their machine.
Pam,
Yes.
most everyone else has the 3M.
Everyone who's currently in MPLC is using 3M.
That's what Newburyport has.
Except someone's using Envisionware, and I don't know if that's proprietary or if that's just who they bought it through.
Is there, am I missing a number on Bayscan?
Maybe?
Yeah, I don't think it's actual quote here, just an information.
Okay, sorry, it's $3,900.
Basecam's 3,900?
Bayscan is $3,900, $500 install, and after a year's warranty, the yearly maintenance fee is $850.
And what about maintenance on the 3M?
Maintenance on the 3M is about $1,300 a year after the first year.
The first year's included.
The first year's included.
Is there an install fee?
The install fee is $350.
What's the maintenance? What do they have to do?
Just to come fix it if it breaks, or send us new parts if they break.
Yeah.
Parts covered under that?
And is the maintenance inclusive of,
I'm sorry?
no, I'm sorry, is it, for 3M, for example, the 1,300 is inclusive of service calls?
Yes.
If it, okay,
I mean, I would have to, really
review the contract.
get down to the nitty-gritty on that, but yeah. I'll also say that what we know about Basecamp through their other library products, scanners and printers, they're a great company, they're very responsive. But this is a new product.
This is basically.
But you said most other places use 3M?
Mm-hmm.
Is 3M the most expensive?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But 3,900 scares me a little too.
Versus 9,000?
I feel like they're missing something.
Who's
They're-
that?
They forgot
They're
our-
kind of missing the middleman,
Who's that? I'm sorry, who's 3M?
Basecamp.
Basecamp?
And what's this other one here, Pam, the Centec?
Centec is Basecamp, I think.
Thank you.
It says at the bottom Basecamp.
Yeah, they have two
Thank you.
different, okay, so the Centec is a product that they sell for somebody else, and I think that's a 12,000. Or, I'm not sure, but then the ELIB 4000 is the one that they've just launched, that they came up with themselves.
So the trick is it's virtually untested,
Well,
but
it's in 400 sites, just not in the US. There's only one in the US so far in Iowa.
okay.
What, is Basecamp?
Yes.
Hmm? So, sorry, it looked like we had two quotes from 3M, and so we're only looking at the lesser of the two, correct?
No, we can look at either one.
The one that's much more expensive, is the scanner like under this thing?
Yes,
I've seen one shaped like that, but
Yeah.
it's strange.
yeah, it just kind of shoots out the underneath side.
At other libraries, I've used the $8,800 one, and it seems fine.
But I kind of like the look of the other ones
Non-responsive companies?
Yeah.
No, that's Basecamp.
It's got Lion King on it, that
Oh, that's
thing.
amazing.
That, oh,
Looks
no,
like a
that is,
video
yeah,
game.
that's
No, that's
good.
good, tech,
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause I saw that email.
It looks like a,
Oh, for the children's room or something?
Yeah.
It looks like an arcade machine or something.
Like the
I would
old
use that machine.
Pac-Man?
but
Yeah, are we thinking, I mean, your vision of this is to be on the counter?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Having met with Basecamp, they can do whatever. They can make it wall mounted, they can make it freestanding, they can make it countertop.
Would you be losing counter space?
Well, and we're not sure where it's gonna go either.
Maybe
Right,
go with the children's.
And if we, I mean, if we go for the 3,900 one, maybe we can get two.
mm-hmm.
I think that if the other libraries are going, if everybody's going with 3M, then there could be in the future, there could be a move to incorporate just the 3M machines. I think that maybe I mean, I like small companies, but would we want to get on something that we, let's say, go out of business?
Well, I think that the company itself is well established.
But they could discontinue
They're not
the
3M.
product line, and they
Right.
could, you know.
You know, how accessible are they for maintenance if they're only in Iowa so far in the US?
The
Do
good
they
news is
contract-
have no other customers, so they should get to us pretty quick.
Obviously, there are pluses and minuses.
Yeah,
It just leads to more questions.
right.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'd be
it's-
nice to get two.
And I assume that that software though that runs these has to hook up to the, yeah.
It
So,
goes through a SIP connection.
so if Evergreen or whoever backs all this data up decides that they are going with proprietary software from 3M, then we're stuck with,
Well,
you know.
as a consortium, MVLC, kind of part of their mandate is to deal with third-party products. They just, a lot of libraries have print management software, they have fine pay. There's lots of other third-party products that have to work with Evergreen. That's Central Site's job to deal with it, and that's part of their function as a network.
Are there any reviews out there internationally about this company and their service, or you know, you just Googling them to find out about a business bureau and things like that?
I haven't.
Because 3M is, you can, you know, call anyone and kind of talk to them about it.
Right.
Okay.
And the libraries that are using it say it's great, there's never any downtime, we've never had a problem with it. One thing I don't like about it is it's not really clear
About which, sorry.
when you're about the 3M.
Okay.
It's not clear how to end your transaction. I think it's very easy to like walk away and leave your account up there.
Is it? I've used it at Newbury before and I haven't noticed that.
Your only options are receipt or no receipt. You have to pick one in order to end your transaction.
So you're saying you could just scan your books and walk away
Right.
and not, if you don't press no receipt.
You could potentially continue to
leave it
scan.
open.
You leave
Somebody
your
else
account
can-
open for someone else to.
We can put a big sign on that.
Don't forget.
Like, don't forget to,
Choose.
yeah.
Do we need to decide this evening?
If we don't decide this evening, what is our plan? We need to have a plan.
When does the $8,000 expire? Does it expire? That's
No,
ours.
it's on the press.
We have it.
We can't use it for anything else, but we can use it for the install fee and also whatever Rick and Jared have to do to create dedicated ports.
Wouldn't that be under the service contract?
It would, yeah.
If we don't decide tonight, what else, what more will we know next month?
I mean, you could look for, you know, like Aaron said, some more reviews or user testimonials or.
Is anybody interested in, like, really reading this information that Pam sent, the 3M schematics?
She's got schematics
that
in
are
here.
going on here. And looking for reviews and reports so that we have better information to work from. And we have time to do that between now and next month?
Well, is the issue that we're not sure, I mean, I think we're all fairly confident 3M that it would be a good,
Reliable.
reputable, I mean, that, I don't think that's the question mark here.
Well, I think the question is simply, are they worth $6,000 per unit more?
And our ability to only then get one.
And again, one is a
These two things do
Well, it's
exactly
not-
the same thing? Does one have more capability than the other or anything like that, or are those special features? Or
They
is
each
it really, when you compare the prices,
What's interesting is
is
that
it apples to
they
apples here, or?
They each have special features that we wouldn't use anyway. For example, check-in. Well, if you let your patrons check in, what if the item triggers a hold for someone else? So, and they had it turned on at the demo, and it was like, check in and put on this card, check in and put in that bin. Like, you're just gonna turn that off. You're not gonna let your patrons check in.
Yeah.
We will possibly be able, okay, so with the 3M, you cannot go into your account, you can't place holds, you can't renew, you can't do anything other than check out. With the base scan, you will eventually be able to renew your items, but you can't do it yet. There are getting software communicating.
And would it trigger the same note if you weren't able to renew it because
Somebody
you
had a hold
had
on it.
hit your your 2
I'm-
renews or someone was waiting for it?
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of, well, what I know from Basecamp is that all of your error messages, all of your screens, all of your instructional screens are fully customizable. You can have whatever languages you want, you can have whatever messages you want, whatever it says on the screen that you're communicating, you know, an error message or a next message or whatever, all of that's customizable. I assume it is with 3M, but I haven't talked to 3M as much. I've also used the machine at Newburyport.
Does anyone have any feedback?
Other than her complete 180 from,
Well, that's my thought, because I know when we first discussed it, she didn't think that it was a good choice, and now, since working with it at Newburyport, loves it.
Who
That-
didn't think it was a good choice?
Anna McGrath was
Oh,
concerned whether it could be implemented in a way that would really improve service. But now she sees that it doesn't break down every minute.
Anna
But
works
that could
both
just be
here and-
self-check in general.
Anna works both here and at Newburyport.
okay.
but it also does kind of need some supervision. Like, you know, we were thinking we would just throw it up in the children's room for people to use when there was no one in there. Well, that's not going to be ideal, because you do often need a little hand-holding, at least, you know, the first time or two. I think you don't want it to be so far away from your service desk that the person can't step over and help. Right.
So the base scan is $4,400 from the get-go, $800 maintenance after the first year. And there might be something else to think of too when it comes to this, because, I mean, technology is changing so quickly. It might be better to go with a less expensive system now, and then maybe 5 years later. I mean, because right now, you know, even your smartphone is, you know, has the capability of doing all of this. So could we invest in an $11,000 item? Technology has changed
It's
in 5
outdated in
years.
3 years, yeah.
We're getting another one.
The other thing is that Evergreen has a self-check module. We're not using it right now. I don't know what it would take to get it. Evergreen, I don't know if you know that Evergreen is kind of a new system. Our consortium migrated it to it 2 years ago now, 2 calendar years almost exactly, and it's open source. So what that means is that if there's a problem with the software, basically it's on us to fix it, on us being the community of Evergreen users. And we're very lucky in that there are 2 ace programmers at NVLC who are like also now very high up in the Evergreen community, you know, world. But so basically, this is kind of what I tell new staff. We've been using the system for 2 years now. Nobody knows how it works. Nobody can tell you how it works. You ask a question, nobody knows. But I mean, we're dealing with it. It's functioning. It's fine. And I'm actually kind of excited about the whole open source idea as opposed to proprietary software. But it's all this big grand experiment. So I'll say things like, "Oh yeah, Evergreen has a self-check module, and that's why it's there, but we don't use it because it's all open source." So that may come into play in the next few years.
And I do think the technology is going to change dramatically, so.
I'm just curious, did the other libraries, you know, that have gone through this exercise already consider the other and eliminate it for any reasons that they would share with us?
They didn't really share. April kind of did, but their project was much bigger. They have an automated
Check in, check out.
but the everything's done automatically. All the sorting, like materials handling, was that what it's called?
probably.
Like everything goes in and goes in these conveyor belts. Like it's all, yeah, automated. I think it's automated materials handling. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can't just drop your book in the box like you do here. You have to check it in and it swallows it and
And it, yeah,
does
so
what
it,
it needs to do.
it's so, yeah, it's all automated.
It's outside the building. You go and you scan your book, check it in, and then it goes in the
Wow.
thing.
So anyway, they had a big, huge RFP, and she gave me lots of feedback on why they went with who they went with. But I don't really recall anyone saying why they, discounted a company that they didn't select.
Is there a contract with Basecamp for an amount of time or, not 3M?
Here, is there a point, or how many years are we locked into that for either one?
That's what I'm.
For the.
Well, the maintenance fees are purely optional. We don't have to pay them. But then if it breaks, we have to pay someone to fix it.
Does PRS have the knowledge and capability
I don't know.
to do something like that? Just curious.
Probably
Proprietary, yeah.
proprietary, thank you.
Yeah.
In
Right.
talking about software changes, did anyone have the 3M system up when we just, I guess we're going back a couple of years now, when everyone switched over to Evergreen? I mean, I would think that if there was an update to Evergreen or something, that it would need to be written to be compatible with the self-check systems.
As I understand it, they communicate through SIP, which is just a very, it's like another piece of software that all it does is move data back and forth. Like it goes in, it authenticates, it comes back. I think that's all it does.
So whether we have 3M or Basecamp wouldn't make a difference.
As far as Evergreen updates, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because anything would have to work with either SIP or LCIP, which are the two kind of communicating softwares.
What happens to the remainder of the funds if we don't use them? Do we get to use them for future, this same purchase?
Did you go to town meeting this past year? No. I thought it was very interesting that they did a lot of capital requests, and they were like $6,000 from this and $4,000 from this, and they were like things that in previous years had come in under budget. That money had to be repurposed to town meeting. So it would kind of sit there in limbo until we asked it to be repurposed for some other capital item.
Okay, but if we got one machine and we decided a year and a half later we wanted to get another machine, then we'd have to put another request in.
I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I don't think it stays in there forever. I think, Karen Summit will say, hey, there's this money sitting here, you need to do something with it.
Can we put the money aside for the yearly fees and things like that ahead of time?
That I'm not sure about. I did ask, I didn't think that the install, I thought the capital meant the item. But no, Karen assured me that the install fees, the preliminary setup fees, all of that is legitimately comes out of the capital
Oh, you mean information.
expenditure. Yeah. And possibly the first year's maintenance fee, but I'm not sure about that. Probably, in fact, not, because it would be a year out anyway. So I don't think so.
I think we have less chance of the 3M system going out of style or out of date or becoming obsolete. But I do think that the whole technology is going to be changing.
You think it's gonna be changing that much potentially, or
I'm looking
with
at-
respect to this kind of thing?
I couldn't see how it wouldn't. You might just, just take a picture of your book with your phone and it automatically updates.
The
Well-
Basecamp one actually says on it that it can read the patron card from a cell phone.
Because a lot of people don't carry cards anymore.
Right.
But I'll say this, I think you're absolutely right, Josh. Like, yes, they make new phones every year. Libraries are not typically early adopters. We're kind of slow institutions. So, like,
It's 10 years old now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
still, but I was
But
just
you
saying,
know-
but
I know what you're
for
saying.
$4,400, you know, or 8,000 or, you know, 11,000, it's, you know, I mean, if we get 5 years out of either system, it'd be
Might be what you could expect to it, yeah. And we can certainly go back and talk more to Biblioteca too. Their quote is,
So,
8,400, so they're right up there, they're really competitive with 3M, and that's what they're trying to be, you know, they're trying to be competitive with 3M.
And where are they used?
I don't know, nowhere nearby.
Okay. Because everyone else seems to.
very easy to do.
And it's because they were first to the market, it's,
Yeah.
you know.
Just quick internet search, Basecamp Technologies, I can't find anything negative on them. Found one positive Google review just saying the company is great, who knows who put it there though. They are not BBB represented or accredited, but they also don't have any complaints filed against them. And
Which one is this, the base game?
it's a base scan,
Yeah.
yeah. There's one principal owner, Mr. David Schaefer, I can't find anything on him negative. Their only business lines listed are, hold on, library equipment and supplies, barcoding service, and wholesalers and distributors. Well, I say only, but that last one there can be kind of broad. I don't know, for what it's worth. It would be really neat to get to. I don't know.
Yeah, we should put two.
Well, even 2 is cheaper.
Yeah. Probably
I mean-
one sorted near the clerk desk and one sorted near the kid's desk.
If we look
Right.
at anything, we could put it
Yeah,
up.
same
Same sort of
thing.
quantity.
Yeah.
What's the yearly maintenance on the 3M?
The yearly maintenance on the 3M, I think 1,300, and again, they're both per unit. Yeah, so to get 2 machines, there would be 1,600 and then 2,600.
So the base camp would be 1,600 for the 2.
And yeah, 800 per unit. Yep.
okay.
And how long has Basecamp been doing this?
2005, they've been in business since.
But doing, like, they just invented this, and it's in other countries. How long have they been having it in other countries?
Okay, so the spiel that I got at the demo is that they did contract software from like a Danish company, and they kind of got out of that product line because they started selling this other machine, and then they decided to get back into this competitive thing, so they went back to their Danish software people, and now they are collaborating again.
And when was that?
Recently?
Is anyone nervous? Am I the only one nervous?
Oh, I am. No, I am.
So what if they-
What are the,
If
what
no
are
one
the risks?
else buys this, they can just close
We
the
got something that we
eyes.
can't have service.
They can, yep.
We have a big paperwork.
And
So the question then is someone else capable of servicing? Or do people only service their own? Yeah, that would be a huge risk.
Oh, I think right there that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Just why risk it? It's not worth it, especially when you're spending like 4, 5, 6 grand on it. It's
Yeah,
not
was
worth it.
that thing sitting next to the Discovery Kids?
If somebody pushes it off the table.
That's,
Yeah, exactly.
The thing that does. Remember the name?
it's the tab.
Thank you. We'll talk later.
That's another story.
I'm just going to push it aside to put the big scan, so check.
We can get another table. The big ones.
And we'll have all this money left over to buy it. I feel better.
The one thing that I'm not clear now that I'm looking on this is there's a shipping and handling fee from 3M. Oh, no, okay, price includes installation. So presumably that means installation and whenever training is necessary.
The other thing is the $8,800 3Ms, obviously it's a whole computer system, so you need a whole, desk in there. The other system, the $11,000 one, is obviously a nice little
Right.
self-contained unit, but probably more expensive to repair and replace.
Right, right.
Yeah, I think we can.
Where this
When
one,
there's
we have
more
a top line.
pieces, when more pieces are in one piece, if one goes, like I'd rather just replace the scanner than the whole piece.
Like having a DVD player on your television.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to get rid of the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's good. And we,
I get that 2 scanners would be nice, but is it really that practical? 'Cause I feel like that who's ever working behind the desk is still gonna check out books, right? So, I mean, then there's 3 places to check out books. I mean, it's not like this is Walmart on a Black Friday. There's not like a line out the door. So I feel like whichever one gets put in a better spot will get used all the time. The other one would be around the corner and no one would touch it.
Because our busiest time is really gonna be like a Wednesday in the summer. We'll have 3 techs, well, 2 techs.
There'll be 3
Yourself.
workstations plus the self-check, yeah.
Right. So there's 4 scanners and there would be 4 bodies here, so it would work that, well, you wouldn't need someone to work. So, I mean, yeah, it would be great. More is obviously better,
even if it's just the one.
but I'd rather one work forever than.
And reliable service.
Yeah.
With technology, no such thing as for.
Well, yeah, but.
That's something that's hopefully supported. Also, I wonder if there's an upgrade, if 5 years later we could upgrade for a lower price to replace some of the units as opposed to buy a whole new unit.
Well,
Technology has changed so much.
we can negotiate a consortium. We're with them.
I think it's safer to go with the 3M. And I agree with your point, the people behind the desk, you want to have that interaction too, so.
Because some people are never going to use it.
Yeah.
They're not going to be comfortable or,
Yeah.
or what is that thing?
Exactly.
Well, it's like you go into the Home Depot or any place like that.
Yep.
CVS.
CBS.
People still
Right.
stand in line behind the guy, they don't want to do one thing.
Exactly.
Make a motion?
I would say we spend $8,000 from the bond and an additional $942 from MIG to purchase a 3M self-check system BCS model 9410.
Well, we have 2 quotes, so it is kind of.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you, Clara.
What's the installation for?
Plus installation, and we'll be able to pay for the first year.
No.
That's included.
That was in it.
Installation of, was it
Said unit.
350? Do we want to take the 350 from somewhere, or do we not need to?
It's included in the 8,942.
Oh, it is, okay.
Claims to be.
Keep practically eating.
Do we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Still on old business.
Sorry to have 2 of those in one evening.
Well, we're not done. We have lots more. We have Frigo next. We're on 2 hours now, so I really don't want this to run until midnight, kids. No, it's important stuff. I'm glad we're having a discussion, but anyway, Frigo.
Well, I don't think anything's hugely time sensitive on a table or anything. The server was the one, I guess. Okay, so those of you who were here at our last meeting know that Frigo is a music service model in which we subscribe and we pay a fee for unlimited access for a year, and anyone who has a library card who wants to sign up is allowed to download 5 songs per week, and they keep them forever. And Some libraries are subscribing to it now, there's different payment models out there, but MBLC is looking into a consortial and/or group purchase, which is supposed to save all the libraries who are currently subscribing some money, because now we're a consortium and/or a group purchase. But there are at least 7 libraries who just refuse to do Friggle. They don't want it, they don't want any part of it, they think that it's not something they should be spending their municipal money on. So the consortial price didn't work out. The group price, and I was there for the discussion trying to figure out how to split the fee between large libraries, medium libraries, small libraries. Do you look at circulation? Do you look at population? Do you look at property values? Do you look at poverty levels? Anyways, it was a long discussion. It ended up so that the fee for all small libraries, of which we are one, is going to be $800 and $1,850.
So this is final? This has been decided?
It's not completely final because there's still a little bit of negotiating going on, but essentially, yeah.
Okay.
Group rate of $850.
1,850 is what we would pay. Now, when we started this conversation, we thought we were going to pay about $900. For double that, I'm like less interested, but we're sort of in the group now. Like if we withdraw, that means everybody else goes from 1,850 to whatever, and then somebody else is going to withdraw because it's not there.
But as we're talking about this, other libraries could be withdrawing.
Yes.
Right, I don't think that should matter, I think we need to make the decision for ourselves.
Right, and a couple did along the way, and that's sort of how we ended up here.
Right.
And now if the group purchases this, if the, whatever price it ends up being, fine, out of the whole consortium buy it, does it become part of our, is it forced on the rest of the consortium next year, I guess is the question.
And that's kind of another discussion that's going on within the consortium, is how does something become a core service as opposed to a supplementary service? And that is also very much under discussion.
Okay.
But no, this probably never will because of the strong feelings of certain libraries.
Okay.
And from our discussion last time, you said that it's mostly folky stuff and kind of
Indie.
yeah. Not
Well, they have two big gets. They have Sony Music Catalog, and then their new contract is with something like 1,800 independent labels as a group. So that's what they have, those two gets.
So other libraries aren't, they don't do this because they don't want to promote it or something, doing the music.
Is the best use of their funds.
It's more philosophical that at the end of the day, I don't have anything for my money. I spent $1,800 of municipal money, and I don't have a physical object here. You have a bunch of files, and they have a bunch of files, but I have nothing. I have nothing to share, to circulate. It's just not, it's a new model.
So their concern is that they don't own
Right.
What do they do
item
with
at the
ebooks,
end, the
And that's kind of a squishy thing too. It's, yeah, because
Okay.
you don't, in the model that we have now, we don't own our ebooks, we license them.
Right.
Is it because it's music?
But we have them, like the library has them as opposed to a person having them.
Right. No, I get that part where the patrons are actually getting the free music, not the library.
Right.
So we're basically just passing that on. It's not a borrowing model, like
It's a giveaway model.
It's a giveaway
Right, it's a
model.
giveaway model.
Is this a one-time fee? Sorry.
No, it's an annual fee. And if we were to join the group at the $1,800 or whatever, are we then, outside of it becoming a consortium service, are we locked in?
Well,
Can we back up next
that's the other problem, is you don't really want to introduce a service and then take it away because not enough people are using it, because what about those 10 people who really love it?
But 10 people, $1,800 a year is.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
doubling of the price makes me less
Yeah.
interested in
And
it.
if you
personally.
think about, I mean, a kind of a price point for me is $1 a song, is what, you know, I feel like is what iTunes charges, right? I mean,
No,
so we'd have to,
Yeah, in that sense.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to pay more than that. You know, what if only 900 songs are downloaded in a year, then we pay $2 per song?
Can we do a trial?
I don't think so.
That
Well,
might sound- Well, we have a trial.
I have a trial,
Oh.
so I can, you know, muck about and see what's what.
See what is
See what's-
available.
See what's available, yeah.
Pam, what is the fee if we just were to buy it ourselves and not be part of it?
Interestingly enough,
Isn't it- I was gonna
$1,800.
say, isn't it lower? So,
But, I mean, that would be really kind of jerky to say, we're going it alone, we're paying.
well, isn't everyone who is interested
Well,
going
because,
alone?
okay,
Because
it's,
this is our allocation. There are other
Right,
libraries
right,
out there who have lower allocation.
we don't really know how they calculate their fees. They take into account your population, your card holders, and your previous year's circulation. We don't know how they're weighted, but for Rowley to join would be $1,800. For other libraries, it would be much more. For many other libraries, it
Or
would be
$1,800 if they did it
$4,000. No, we're the.
Oh, we don't know how Frigo does their fees.
Right.
Uh,
But there was a big spreadsheet, and we would pay $1,800 just going to Frigo, but we're the only one. Everyone else would pay like $3,000 or $4,000 at the very least.
But based on the group model.
Yeah, they must have some sort of minimum or base, and then, like you indicated, those factors are then.
Well, okay, so what's interesting is Frigo and MVLC have negotiated a price, and what MVLC is trying to decide is how to allocate the discount. So we're not really negotiating with Frigo directly, if that makes sense. That's why there was the big debate about, is it by population, is it by circulation, is it by income level, is it by, like, how do we, and there was even how do we split up libraries into large, medium, and small, and where's the cutoff, and should there be 5 groupings or 3 groupings? It was
So,
very
yeah.
messy.
The 1,800, if we were to go to Frigo directly and get 1,800, is that what like Lawrence would get? They would get a much higher
Yes.
rate, okay. So we're the only, under this model that MBLC has come up with, we're the only ones who will pay more?
So it would be really jerky of us to say that we're not going with the group model.
No,
we're
we're
all-
paying more to be part of the group, is
I
what
think it's
Michelle's
really
saying.
jerky for them to say, but you guys pay more. Like, did anyone point out?
I did,
excuses
yes,
for you to get a
yes,
discount?
yes, I did. Yes, I did. I sent Larry a very snarky email about
Okay.
like, hello, did you notice that
We're paying more.
we're paying more?
Just take the $50. Take the $50.
And then I said, and he was like, does that mean you're pulling out? I'm like, I'm not gonna quibble over $50, but.
No, I
We don't
actually,
even-
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, I don't necessarily like the idea of pulling out of a group that's already negotiated, but I'm not sure we're gonna get $1,800 worth of use out of this.
I'm not sure either. We would have to promote the heck out of it for
Yeah,
sure.
And find
Because
people that love
people have to
that. The type
do
of music that it
something.
is.
They don't, you know, they have to go out of their way to register. They have to every week log in and download their 5 songs. But I did kind of play with the numbers a little bit, and what I came up with was, if 20 people download half of their live songs for the year, that works out to $1 a song. And that seems manageable.
I don't think that's out of the question.
I mean, 20 people only doing,
If they're gonna
Half the
find the
time.
music they like,
if they're gonna find the music they like.
because it's such a limited list.
But here's the other thing. If it's free, you just download 5, and if you decide you don't like them later, you just delete them.
Yeah, so you don't use it.
But
for
do you
your-
even look?
I mean,
After the first
Right,
week,
right,
do you even look?
But, I mean, I'm just, like, how do people use music at home? Like, kids aren't worried about hard disk space. They just load up their music, you know. Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is, like, if, I don't know what kind of music's gonna be on there, but if it's like, has like a parental advisory thing, then you have to worry about how would that, something like that work.
I don't know. I'm
Because,
not
like,
sure.
especially if it's like like their parents or like a young kid has a card and can use it, then you just be like, oh, well, if I can't get this
Right.
song on my mom's computer, well, I just go on the library and get it for free.
Well, they can do that with all of our resources.
Yeah, I don't know if they're, I don't know what they do with, like, explicit lyrics, whether they
Well,
just.
yes and no, sorry. Crossing conversations. if there were, if a 6-year-old came up to the desk with a parental advisory CD, music CD, do we even have parental advisory music CDs in our collection?
We might have a couple.
Does anybody question that? I don't know.
No, because that would be age discrimination.
Okay.
No, so, never mind.
All right.
We're good.
I think some video games you had, right? Aren't there video games over there?
Mhm.
Yeah, so the law
Yeah.
is that parental advisory.
It's a good,
Okay.
that's a good thing to think about. Because well, as I say, we could end up with minors who don't participate because they don't have permission to participate in the whole thing, because there's no way to limit that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and really look. I'm not sure if anybody asked about specifically.
I was gonna say, yeah,
extracurriculars.
because most websites, you have to be, what, at least 13 or something like that to,
Yeah, but usually it's just like a prompt that's like, are you over this age?
Yeah.
Just go, yeah, totally.
yeah.
And how do you get into, you log on with your card, right?
And that's kind of one of their selling points, is people have to go to your website to do it, so it draws people to your website.
And that's one thing I like about it, it's, well, if the assumption, my assumption is that the people who will use this may tend to be younger, then that's gonna bring a demographic to our website that right now we're having trouble reaching, with the exception of the poetry stuff.
What is the format?
I think they're MP3s.
Single file down?
What would be another one? J,
ACC or whatever. What's Apple use?
I don't
Yeah,
know.
ACC.
AAC.
AAC, yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes, we should ask the.
I don't really like it. AAC, not many people do.
Well, let's see if I can find it in iTunes is, so.
Yeah, it's very limited.
What I've played with this a little bit is it works less well with iTunes as opposed to just, moving files around but anyway.
So you haven't heard back yet from your email? Oh, he just emailed back saying, so does this mean you're pulling out? I'd like to think that they would reevaluate that. I mean, I don't think we should be we shouldn't be subsidizing other libraries. I don't want to pull out, but I mean, it's not like, oh, Rowley, they're rolling in money anymore, you know?
There had been so much acrimonious conversation already. I didn't want to throw another sticky widget in. I really didn't. I told Larry, I was like, are you kidding me? This is more for us than going alone would be.
If every other library added $2.
But we're not even sure of the 1850. If other libraries pull out, we may end up paying $2,500.
I think at this point it's pretty stable, but I'm not, nobody's committed yet.
What's the do we have a deadline?
I don't know. I had kind of thought that they were looking at July 1st implementation, but that can't be. Well, ALA is going on right now too, so everybody's kind of away, so nothing's really happening.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to me, it seems like a lot of money on an annual basis.
And did everybody look at this music thing that I sent in the packet? If you look at past years, this year, we spent 1% of our materials budget on music, and yet 3% of our total circulation was music. So I kind of feel like, we owe it a little bit, but then again, at the end of our $1,800, we don't have anything to show for it. We don't have a shelf full of CDs, but on the other hand, we don't have room for $1,800 worth of CDs, so
I
in a
feel
way,
like if
this is
CD
better.
was bigger though, like if we did more CDs, then it would be worth it. Like, I don't think 3% is enough to get like a $1,800 streaming thing. I feel like if CDs was maybe 8-10%, then it'd be more of a, okay, well yeah, we could totally do this because there's an interest in it and it would catch on quick.
Right, that's the thing, that's the idea, it's people want to download music, this is a way to let them do it, this is where the world is going to be. you know, 5 to 6 years ago, we had this whole conversation about overdrive, and now it's just kind of the standard. They were first in the market, they established themselves, but it's all very new.
Do you go to the surveys? Didn't we survey interest in
Downloadable music.
downloadable materials and music? We didn't?
We just said downloadable, yeah.
But not
We didn't
specifically music.
specify.
Let's do that.
Yeah, when you look at it, like you have in the spreadsheet, as a percentage of the audio visual, 18.
Yeah,
Like I said, the
it's-
1,800, it would be 20% of that budget, but of the total budget,
Right.
4.3%.
Right. It's, of our audios, it's half of our audio is music as opposed to spoken word.
Right.
I think that's,
But are we not going to get
Other,
physical media any longer? I mean,
yeah, at what
well,
cost?
and the other thing too to keep in mind is that our materials budget is going up by how much? $7,000? Much?
Let's name the next one.
When did it go up from, it's going up from 3,400 to 40, it's going from 34,200 to 41,500.
Can you repeat that, please?
It's going from 34,200 to 41,500.
Thank you.
That's almost $8,000. Thank you.
100. Oh, sorry, you're talking thousands.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you say at what cost, it's not taking money away from anything.
Right,
It would be part of this increase.
right.
Is it considered materials?
Yes.
Since we don't actually end up with anything?
It's, the circulations don't count in the ARS report, but the funding counts as materials expenditures.
Would Friegel provide us with any sort of reporting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we could get stats as, okay.
So we know that we're successful.
Yeah,
But again, what do we do if it's not?
right. I
Are we
mean,
stuck?
It's a 1-year contract?
No.
It's,
Well, yes.
yes.
So,
I don't think, I mean, I know you don't like to take away services, but if it's not successful, I think it has to be really not successful. I mean, if only 20 people need to participate in it for it to break even, so to speak.
and you know, we could, you know, if they have a reporting mechanism, we could, you know, 2 months, let's check on it. You know, maybe do some advertising or,
Mhm.
you know, to make people more aware, because there may be reasons that they're not
Right.
using it,
Right.
because they don't know
Well,
about
and
it.
I think there's some barriers, like I said, they have to go do it, they have to sign up, they have to download. And not only that, but they have to know how to, okay, I've downloaded it, how do I put it on my iPod? How do I put it in my, you know,
So we could do a program, we could have a class,
yeah.
even.
But the, you know, again, like, we've just gone through this with the e-readers, with the
Yeah.
Nooks and the Kindles, and there are all the different devices and all the different formats, and the staff is still confused about that. This is one more teachable thing, you know?
Okay.
Pam, have you've gone on more than one time to bring it over? You said the first time was difficult to set everything up. Subsequent times, was it easier once you knew what you were doing and how to transfer everything over to them?
It took me like 3 times to do what I wanted to do, which was not necessarily what anybody else would want to do, just because of the devices that I have.
Okay. I'm interested in what you think.
It just seems like we're reaching for it. I don't know. It seems like there's like so many reasons to like you said, like they have to sign up, they have to figure out how to put it on their iPod, the phone's gonna ring off the hook once we get that thing going, if people even look at it.
But, okay, but 5 free songs every week.
If there's songs you like.
Yeah, I mean, how big is your library?
It's
So
Sony
many.
Music and then a lot of independent,
And
like,
Oh.
so.
did everybody get their free iTunes song this week?
What, from Starbucks?
No, you can get, well, you can get a stop,
Yeah, you
you
can
can
get
get
free
free
iTunes
from
songs.
iTunes. You could just go to iTunes and get a free song.
Oh,
Nobody
yeah,
does.
it's never a song I like.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, and like they give away a song.
Yeah.
You don't get to pick it,
No.
just if you happen to like that.
but, you know, but if people
See,
don't
this,
always.
yeah, this is, you get to pick from, thousands or whatever.
Are there still a lot of ways to get free music?
Legally?
Legal
Legally,
ones?
no.
Yeah. Not legally, but yeah, there's a ton of ways.
But they're made for people who we think might be interested in this, they might be like, yeah, free music, what's the big deal?
I think they'd be tech savvy enough, so they just check out the CD, bring it home and burn
No,
it. Which, of course, we
don't
don't.
tell me, because that's
Which is
illegal.
illegal.
Of course it is, but I'm just saying.
Wait, that's illegal? To like rent the CD from Temper?
And make an illegal copy, yes, that's illegal.
Oh, I know that. Not that I've done that. I'd buy all my
Internet
CDs on
box.
iTunes.
So I gotta backtrack up. So there was a survey done, there was a lot of interest expressed in having this service?
No, there's not a survey done on this.
No, just
So how do we-
several NVLC, enough NVLC libraries are doing it on their own that it was worth investigating a consortial model. That's how this started. Like 20 out of the 35 libraries are already doing it.
How long have they been doing it?
A couple of years.
I thought you said some of them also backed out or determined.
As we started negotiating the fees and how the fees and discounts would be applied across the libraries, some said, well, if I spend my $1,800 on this, I can't buy any other music all year, and I'm just not ready to do that yet.
And how successful is it being for those that are doing it?
Most of them really, really like it. Most of them say our patrons love it, it brings them to our website, people are using it. There's another, there's the unlimited access model, which is what we're looking at. There's also different models where you can pay by download.
Yeah, we talked about that.
So some have been doing that, which is much cheaper and much more limited. So they're
But it could be
considering
much
moving
more
to
expensive.
this. Exactly, you don't know.
You might have mentioned this too, but if you download the free songs and then like however many years down the road we cancel the service or the song not work,
No,
like
you
it-
have the song
It's
forever.
it's
yours.
permanent?
Yeah.
Okay.
You have that file forever until you delete it.
Well, we've already gotten a server and other stuff tonight, so I think
Well,
let's just
this-
keep the ball rolling, let's just do it.
This, and this discussion is more philosophical. The money's there in the operating budget if we choose to allow it. It's not a special expenditure, it's just how,
We didn't even really think about it.
you don't know. But it's a completely, new and different model, so I think it's worth, getting really, if we're gonna do it, we really have to get behind it, because there might be some questions about, because we are basically handing out taxpayer money to people
Right.
for their own collections.
So when you say there may be questions, do you mean about how to do it, or about the
No.
nerve of us for handing out taxpayer money?
Yeah, is it an appropriate expenditure? It's a legitimate question.
But you started it, it was 900, did you say 900 the first year?
When we first started talking about the consortial purchase, it was pitched to us as it would cost us 900. That did not end up being the case.
Because the entire consortium did not buy in. So it's now just a group purchase, not all however many libraries we have.
Right. There was a very aggressive price for a consortial purchase, which we did not meet.
And so when you say it's covered in the budget or,
Because we increased salaries and staff hours and everything, the amount of our budget that we are required to spend on materials also increased. Because there's a formula that you have to use in order to draw.
we could spend this money on something else.
Yes.
But it's there, it's
But
not like
it's
we're
there.
taking it out of discretionary funds.
Right, it's not like we have to not buy something else in order to
The
buy
other
this.
things we could spend it on is there another list of bucket list of things, other things?
Well, we have to spend 41,200 on materials, so not really, no.
We could buy more books, more magazines, things like that.
Yeah,
But we can't,
Or more CDs.
yeah, but we can't
Yeah.
buy computers.
You don't have to get real detailed notes, you know, you can kind of just say we talked about it.
Oh, no, no, no,
If
no.
we wanted to do music, couldn't we just get a bunch of iPod Nanos and an iTunes account for the library, and then they could check out the iPods and then
Oh my
check
God.
off whatever songs they want to listen to, and, you know, even iTunes allows up to 5. I don't know, just,
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I've heard of libraries circulating Kindles and Nooks and e-readers, but I haven't heard of iPods yet, that's interesting.
well, it just seems like an awful lot of money that we're not even sure.
How many
it's-
iPods could we get for $1,800?
What are we doing, Nanos?
Or
Well,
shuffles, they don't need a screen.
Get a SanDisk or something, you don't need to do iTunes, you can do,
Mm.
you know, $20 MP3 player. You know, then use Real Player or something to get your music through and.
Yeah, but they can't own that.
No, but we own it, the library.
iTunes, you
So
don't
it's
own,
there for
you
someone
don't own
else.
your music on iTunes though either. It's in the rights, you don't own the music, you buy it, it's just so that you can listen to it on iTunes, so it's your borrowing it.
Even when you put it on your device.
Yep, that's not yours.
And the songs they can download.
It's in the rights of iTunes. Bruce Willis was trying to sue Apple because in his will, he was trying to write in that all of his music, which he has like $80,000 worth of songs, is gonna go to his kids. And Apple's like, no, it's not yours, it's still ours.
Interesting.
And he wasn't really happy.
If you can get any song they want, I mean, is it the selection?
From the library.
Show them
It's available.
how out of touch I am with.
They don't need to download these songs,
I'll just say that I didn't really find 5 songs I wanted, but, I mean,
It's the Sony Music Library, so anything that's on the Sony label, plus a bunch of independent labels. So if
there's
it's-
there's a lot of world music, did you look around at this?
I looked around then, but I forget
Yeah,
now really
yeah.
what it was. So,
I mean, gee, this is a nice to have, it's a nice perk, it's a nice thing for people to be able to do if we can afford it. I guess, I don't know, I guess I'd be concerned about how to sustain it going forward. Is the cost gonna go up, or, I mean, are we gonna try to expand it, include more
Well,
songs, more
that's- well, see,
selection?
here's-
What's the mission?
Here's the thing, it's as much as we want to promote it, if you'll think about this for a minute, if every one of our card holders signed up, that's 2,500 people, 5 songs a week. That's a lot of songs for $1,800. Well, can we scale it that big? Probably not. But as I said, if we get 20 people to do it half the time, that's about $1 a song, and I'm kind of comfortable with that.
But then for bang for our buck, I mean, we should have loftier goals.
It should be,
People to-
but, and I agree with the other libraries, I mean, should we be paying $1 for somebody's song? I mean, because the library, you know, the idea of the library is you can borrow things, take them back, and use them.
Right.
and-
Right.
multiple people can use them.
But people like to download songs now, so.
Hand out $1 and say, here, go download you.
And that's why, I won't name names, but that's exactly what a certain library director said. I'm not gonna, she said, I might as well just stand on the corner and hand out dollars, and I'm not gonna do that. But, it is unlimited access. It's not like those dollars are gonna run out. Anybody who wants to sign up
We
for it
might have
can.
nickels.
So. Unless anyone is like really, really deeply philosophically opposed, I think we'll probably give it a try.
I'm not philosophically. I don't like that we have to pay extra.
I really think I'd feel better if it was less than $1,000. I think it's not here.
I feel better if it was less than
It's what was-
I know. But by joining, we pay more. You said philosophical.
It's the
that's
principle.
my- Yeah.
I'd have no problem shutting it off though if it's not something that's being used by people. I'm sorry, you know, we're discontinuing. the
Could
service.
we announce it as a, you know, we're trying this new program out?
Yeah,
You know, so that patrons know, could be taken away, and maybe we'll get some
Yeah.
feedback that way.
yeah.
Well, and when you say that it doesn't count toward our CERC numbers, can we still report on it?
Not on the ARS report.
So, would we know who is using it?
I don't know.
And I'm not looking to like invade anyone's privacy, but what I'm thinking is, then if we could identify who they are, if we did ever decide to take it away, we could at least maybe go, like, use that data to replace it somehow, like,
Well,
let's buy more indie CDs.
when they log in, they're invited to give their email so that they get a prompt. They get an email prompt every week that says, don't forget your 5 downloads.
Yeah.
So presumably Frigo would have, like, if we wanted to send a message, I mean, we've collected their email, Frigo's collected their emails. But as far, I think we would be able to, you know, look at statistics like unique users and new users, but I don't think we would
Could get names.
we would get or want to know. the
Well, yeah, and I
identifiers.
understand that from a privacy standpoint, I'm just thinking if there was a way to reach out to them, then we could.
I think that's a bridge we need to cross when we get there, if we're gonna do
It will
it.
be successful.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
So we're doing.
So do we just need to say we're gonna stick with the group at this point?
yeah.
Okay. No motion needed. Okay.
Motion to accept and no motion needed.
New business.
New business. Has everybody being you two mostly, given all your contact information, Pam, or whatever she
Mark
needs?
has not given me a preferred email. Did you want to continue to use your GE one for
Yeah.
library business?
It goes
Okay.
on the website. It goes on the Raleigh Library website as your contact.
Well, it just has like a mail to link.
I guess I should probably use my home one for,
Okay, just send it to me.
yeah, so to,
Just so that everybody is aware, I'm probably gonna change the one that I use for library business to a Gmail account or something. So if you start getting emails from me under Gmail, that's why. So, and I'll get you that, because I know you're gonna turn it in. Okay. Does anybody have a problem with Tuesday nights, third Tuesday night of the month as our meeting night? Is there a better night, a better time?
I don't have a problem with Tuesdays, but I know, Pam, is the third week difficult for you? Because by the time we're looking at the director's report, it's
A month old.
weeks.
3 weeks old. Yeah.
Well, my thought is the Friends also meet on Tuesday night, which is why we're the third week. Could we ask them to swap with us? I don't think any of their stuff's really time sensitive as to the time of month. Do it the second.
It would just bump it up 1 week. It's just-
They used to be
We used to be the second
Second.
Wednesday of the night, we got the
They
night
used to
after
be
the
second
Friends.
Tuesday, we would be second Wednesday.
But somebody, and I don't remember who now, somebody had a conflict on Wednesday nights. So in order to bump it to Tuesdays, we also had to bump it up a week. I don't remember who, honestly.
Because the earlier Tuesdays in the month, usually the first one, but from time to time, the second one, I have officers meetings at night.
Okay. I mean, I'm fine with leaving it where it is.
I'm
I
good
just
with
look
where it
at
is.
Okay. All right, moving on. I would like to table the subcommittee working group definitions, considering we're almost on hour 3 now. If that's okay with everybody?
And can we just ask for everyone to consider which ones
Yes.
they want to be on?
Pam included with last month's
The April
notes,
packet.
or April packet. We
Yeah.
can again forward that. The various working groups and their definitions. It works out that most people end up having to be on about 2, and we ask that you be active on those when you get that.
So you already sent that out?
Yeah, we'll resend. I just put it on my action items or Pam's. I have a couple here that are Janet or Pam.
Another thing that we could throw out here too is that we've lost one of our key holders if anyone wants to be a third key holder, which means also being on the call list, like if the alarm goes off in the middle of the night or the police find an unlocked door, you would occasionally have to come down. I'm trying to think.
It's
Twice a year?
maybe, yeah, it's calmed down considerably since the
Yeah.
alarm was first put in.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Okay. It works well because it's actually right now
You're close by too,
Yeah,
right?
right, plus I respond to the bank alarms all the time anyway, so
So you're already used to it.
Hopefully you won't get two on the same night.
sounds good.
Everybody okay with Josh volunteering?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm. Possible trustee opening, we have a kind of a situation here, where Eve knew her house was on the market, never ever expected it to sell as quickly as it did. There technically is literally no law against her continuing to serve, even though she's going to be moving 2 inches across the line into Georgetown. The sort of flip side of that is, so I mean, it would, technically speaking, be fine to have her, she's not been sworn in yet, because she's also kind of waiting to hear what the thought is here. Again, no law, but
And there is precedent.
there is precedent. We've had both the selectman and the town treasurer move out of town after being elected, and still serve out their full term. The other side of that is some people have kind of strong feelings about that. You know, if you're gonna represent the town, you should live in the town. And then the other sort of, and I'm asked Eve to give me a little more information on this. Eventually, she will be leaving the area. She does not know how quickly that will happen. So there's that possibility that if that happens as fast as as quickly as her house sold, then we're gonna be looking for a new trustee anyway. So it's sort of a two-pronged question. Are we okay with her being sworn in and serving as long as she can serve on the board? And if not, who do you know that wants to be a trustee?
What's her term?
1 year. She's only a 1 year.
I
I
have,
see what you're saying.
I agree.
I'm sorry, say that again.
He said he's
Let her
happy with
serve.
letting her serve.
Yeah,
being sworn
she
in.
lived in Raleigh, so I mean.
And the law is you have to live in the town when you take out your papers.
Yeah,
And she was
She-
legitimately,
Yeah.
so.
I just think she's good, and she has a good working knowledge.
Yeah,
I
she's, I think she has served well.
And I think it'll be
She served
good
exceptionally.
for some continued,
Continuity.
continuity, thank you.
Yes.
we can still be looking in the meantime, but I say keep her on while she can be.
Right.
Well, and if there are, my take on it, I mean, it's ultimately up to Eve. She won the
Right.
election, it's her stuff to do with what she wants, so really, what can anyone say? But my thought is, if there was someone who came forward with a concern about it, I would be thrilled if there was someone that interested in the library board, and I would probably get their name and number. And we would need to replace
Right,
Eve at some point.
right. Okay, well, I will let her know that. She'll get the notes anyway. but-
She's in charge.
Are they a member of the construction?
Mhm.
There we go.
She's still working on it. Okay. That was easy. Do we need to discuss the staffing update? You kind of covered that. or-
Well, there's one sort of question in addition to, and we don't necessarily have to have a discussion or decide it tonight, but here's the situation. With our increased hours, our plan is, and I think everybody knows this, to have a member of the management team here 3 evenings a week. That's because there's 3 of us. We are open 4 evenings a week, so that 4th evening, which happens to be Monday, there will be an extra technician scheduled, and the same with Saturdays. Because just increasing the management team hours, which was the important thing that we did not also cover our 3-person in the building ideal. It's not a rule, it's just an ideal. We want optimally to have 3 staff members here at all times. So the question now becomes, since it was a little difficult to get everybody on board for filling in those Mondays and Saturdays, what do we do when there is an illness or a vacancy for some other reason? Do we say, okay, well, it will just have 2 people for this day or this time or this whatever, if someone has an appointment or a meeting off-site or whatever? Do we feel strongly enough to insist on that coverage? Or do we just slide with 2 here and there? And then the follow-up question for that is, does it have to be 2 technicians? Could it be a Saturday with a technician and 2 pages? Is it just 3 people in the building, or do we want the service level, do we want to say we always have, you know, at least a technician?
I think that it's okay to slide to 2, which is our current rule in this
Rule for
case.
safety,
Rule
right.
for safety is there's at least 2. Because even when we said, you know, we're gonna go to having one of you here, it was actually having one of you on, you may actually be at a,
Here.
off-site
Yeah.
education program
Yeah.
or something. So you're scheduled, but you're not actually here, so there's
Mhm.
only 2. So I don't think that we can work around that. I think we have to say 2 is still okay.
But as practice, if one of our 2 people scheduled for Monday night can't work, do we presume that they're gonna find coverage for themselves? And does it have to be a technician, can it be a page?
I would think they should exhaust trying to find a technician, and then if none can fill in, then they should get a page.
So ideally,
Make the effort.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
after, I mean, we'll open with 2, but we just fought pretty hard for 3.
Right, and we can't, obviously, we can't open with 2 pages and no technicians.
Exactly.
So,
okay, but we're comfortable with being a little flexible on both of those things.
I think so.
Okay,
It's kind of a transition period, we have to
Sure.
figure it out too.
I mean, as
Yeah.
long as it's not taken advantage of, if we go back to most Mondays and Saturdays with only 2 people, then obviously it's not working.
Right.
We'll need to reevaluate what we need to do to make it work.
okay, so we'll do our best to keep the optimal coverage, but if it has to be either a page or a no one, and then it ends up not being a lot, just now and again, then we're fine with
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Okay,
As long as,
it-
as long as everyone is being productive while they're here, and, obviously.
and that's the other thing that's
Yeah,
gonna take
obviously,
some getting used to.
yeah, 3 people will reshovel, it looks faster, and so then
Mhm.
what else needs to be done? I mean, they should be, whoever is here should be productive the whole time they're here.
Always sorting to be done on the shelves.
Okay, so that's good to have that clarification.
Okay. Pam and I had a conversation with town council about an update to our behavior policy. She actually sent a suggested wording, which I forwarded to everybody for the May meeting, I think. But then she also came back to me just recently, and you were on this email, weren't you?
Yeah, there was a court case.
There was a court
nearby.
case at Boston Public Library that resulted, government can reasonably regulate consistent with the library's primary purpose. So our question basically was, can we actually ban somebody from the library? It's a public building, it's taxpayer owned. And this sort of sets that precedent. If you're not using the building for its intended purpose, then yes, you can be asked to leave for a period of time or potentially permanently, which we would hope not to do, but it could happen. So we don't, honestly, what the end result is, we don't really have a formal answer because she's asking for additional time to read this more thoroughly.
Because there's a better reason, really.
Right, over that. So we don't really, short story, we don't really have too much to report on that. Except, let me see. It doesn't really change what her suggested wording was.
No.
It just kind of gives us more to go on, that we, that we do actually have the right to do this. So, that was really just an aside, I guess, at this point. John sent the quotes for the building.
Oh, we don't have that.
That was really on policy, wasn't it?
I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I see here that they've suggested a disruptive minors section. And when I went to it wasn't MBLC, it was MLS meeting about policies, they warned us to be careful about setting policy specifically for an age group, even if it was children, like unattended children, or that's age discrimination, so.
Sounds good to me, I mean, any disruptive
Yeah,
part of, whether, even if they're acting like a child.
yeah. And I think one of our policies is
Yeah,
that
I mean,
children cannot
really-
chew gum in the library, or adults allowed to chew gum.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the 4.11, the proposed 4.11 would cover anyone.
Right, basically her 4.11.1, legalese, basically says, and they're subject to 4.11.
Right, and I think she has it in two, because we had it in two.
Right,
We sent it to her, and we just asked her to look it over, and
so she could actually, honestly, there isn't anything in here other than the fact that we would let them hang around until somebody could come pick them up.
yeah.
That isn't in the above section. So we could probably blend it back into one.
Yeah,
and
why don't
just
we
say,
ask her to do
in the
that?
case of a minor, you know,
Yeah.
we'll let you hang out until somebody can come
Right.
get you. I think, because really reading it, there's nothing in there that isn't in the above,
Yeah.
so. We can ask her then to,
Mhm.
respect her actions. All right, sorry, I can catch myself. So, quotations for the building. We just kind of have them. I know you mentioned you wanted to kind of get that going.
For the roof or for the painting? So,
For the painting, is there anything on the roof?
I'm playing phone tag with Eric too.
Okay.
There's three.
There you go.
Here.
Mm.
Spell this one.
No.
Oh, here's the line, okay.
This feels
Just as a copy. We kind of decided to go ahead and do that.
Mhm.
this time I want.
That's for everything?
Mhm.
And this one is 9.
Mhm.
Total, okay. So the three quotes basically are 9,000, 14,000, and 11,320. Personally, I don't know any of these companies. I don't know if anybody does know anything about reliability of them. They've heard anything?
who's the third? I just see, John McCallum.
That one actually is a quote that,
Oh, this is a
yeah,
quote?
then if you look in the middle, there's money, it says
Oh,
bid.
Yeah, there's no heading or whatever, there's just.
No, it's just long
Yeah.
lines, but it is there. That one includes pressure washing the building to get it all done.
I looked
This
through
one
them
says
pretty
wash,
carefully.
prep,
They
prop,
all,
yep.
they all
This is-
include the prepping. Well, it says preparation.
Pressure and painting, okay,
I
all
have to
right,
assume that's.
all right.
The only thing that's different is this one specifically mentions replacing any boards that need to
Boards.
be replaced.
He's gonna do the fence, too.
They all insured?
We should definitely find
We
that out.
would have to find that out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one says fully insured.
This one does too, doesn't it?
Especially when pressure washing,
Yeah.
clapboard,
Yeah,
and
it's
everything.
fully licensed and insured.
And this one's business
Yeah.
card says fully
Yeah, they're all
insured.
insured.
So they are all insured. This one of them I just said they could start in June. I think it was this guy.
Yeah.
The other two I don't believe say anything about when they would start.
This one says completed in a timely manner. Could begin by first week in June.
No, this is quick off, it's 48 for the chain.
At least the middle of
Is
the
the American Home Improvement one could have gone up too, it's only guaranteed for 30 days.
And didn't
Oh, well, that's the
someone,
first one you got.
didn't someone ask, did that include everything? Is that the labor and the materials?
Well, it says wash, prep, caulk, and spot prime, that's work.
Yeah,
So-
okay.
It says 2 coats.
Finished
of Sherwin
coat, yeah,
Williams,
okay.
So you have to,
Yeah.
they're specifying Sherwin-Williams, which means that they're gonna provide it.
And this one specifies.
This one's Benjamin
Benjamin
Moore.
Moore, and I'm trying to remember if there's. I can't remember, I think it's Benjamin.
Benjamin Moore's a good term.
I think it's Benjamin Moore.
How did you get these guys? I mean, did you have references on these folks?
John, I don't know how he started. I don't know what he started from. John got all his quotes. John McCollum, one of my trustees.
No.
One of the things, of course, that we can do is look for references before we move forward with accepting one of them. But
Well, the middle guy, the guy that bid at $11,000, he says towards the end that there was a few things he wasn't sure about, like if the shed was included, and if he wanted to remove the vines from the columns,
Mhm.
and he just assumed it. So I mean, if he didn't include the shed in the quote, then that quote will go up.
well, we don't know if the others did either.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know if we expected them to include the shed.
John just recently painted the shed.
Yeah, John
Yeah,
actually
I
painted
think
the
the
shed.
sheds are okay.
The columns is an interesting question, though.
Those
Yeah,
lines are eating the paint.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. But that was always the intention, was the hydrangeas were supposed to climb the pergola, and yes, it does ruin the columns. So, I mean, I think we have to remove them to paint the columns. Thereafter, do we trim them, or do we let them climb again? I don't know.
Can we put something in front of them so
The
they're
profile
climb
instead.
instead?
They
Oh,
will,
that's-
yeah.
You really have to remove it, and I do think you're right. It was the intent that they would climb the columns. But,
And fill in the pergola, yeah.
right.
So someday we'll have to replace this one.
But it's, once they climb up and start filling in the pergola, we're not painting again
Yeah.
without hacking them down like the beanstalk, you know.
We can tie it into a children's book.
I may have missed this when I stepped out, but what is, this gentleman here, what does he mean by minor carpentry? Was there something in particular that was noted as needing to be repaired?
He did, I think he was the guy that John
So,
met with, and there was some wood that was,
There is wood.
there's clapboards that
Yeah.
are,
So Charlie
Because
found
that's
it
something
in 5 minutes.
we'd want that included.
the curving, what do you call it?
Oh, cupping.
Cupping, yeah. So there were some clapboards that needed to be, he thought needed to be replaced.
Replaced.
And we actually spotted that.
So that-
Since this.
That might be
program.
worth the $2,000 to have that included.
Well, I also like that he wants to give us a quote
Maintenance.
on maintenance, which
Mhm.
is a novel idea.
Mm.
So
Good
Yeah.
business.
These are all
Yeah.
local.
I don't know. Who's in
Oh, sorry.
I didn't see it. Okay, I'll look down.
Coastal painting.
Where's-
Oh, Jonathan.
You
guys
sorry,
are
Jonathan.
gonna be somewhere. Oh, they got this one. So
The coastal
where's
painting
this
has no
one?
address.
It's coastal painting. then?
Yeah. So,
Where are we going with this? Do you want to research this anymore, or we should talk to these guys, get references, or? Or do
we
we
could ask for references, I suppose.
We're trying to make a decision tonight, is that what we want to do?
I think we want it done this year, which is the trick,
Oh,
you
okay.
know.
We would have done this because it needs to be done.
Right, we want
We
to.
want it done before the big
Anyway,
celebration
yeah.
next year.
Right, which means this year. So that's the only pressing piece of it. I don't think the building's in danger presently,
Right.
but, I think this guy is the one that really, he seemed very thorough from what John said. He was the one that was talking about the
Yeah,
shrubs and getting pedestrians and,
I would tend to agree with that. This seems a little too low to be true. It
Mhm.
makes me wonder what,
Yeah,
And he's the only one that included the fence.
this guy did?
mhm.
Yeah, it's 2.
Oh, up there. Oh, okay, all right.
Which is covered in molded lumber.
Right, and
These
they're brought
are
in trim boards.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just-
the pine trees.
Who painted the church a couple of years ago? Did anybody see that? Congregational church? I thought they had a
That,
bunch
they
of
had,
people.
they had a
Yeah.
big renovation
But
project.
but it's
Yeah.
peeling again already.
Oh, really?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Because I marveled at the job they did prepping, they sanded.
It looked like they did, but I don't know, I think they still run into problems. Whatever, I don't know if it's one of these guys or whatever.
This guy's just Googling, he has a lot of positive reviews.
Which
On
one?
who?
Griffin,
Griffin?
Newburyport painting.
Yeah.
He looks like,
He's-
he looks probably the best so far.
Well, he's the most detail
He's
oriented.
the most thorough, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the $9,000 may be going up, at the very least, we
Right,
should
it's
get that updated.
5-month-old quote now. so-
Yeah.
Okay, so do we want to move ahead by getting more information or by voting to go with one of these guys?
When our next meeting's mid-July.
So we'll
I
take-
kind of want to get John's thoughts on meeting with
I
them.
don't think he actually sent anyone, because he actually emailed me all these quotes too.
Oh, okay.
It really needs to be done by October.
Yeah, we want to do it in the fall.
Well, I mean, October at the latest.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to do it later.
But you definitely want to target this for the fall, and that's the best time, right? Get the best adhering of the paint, and it's dry, and,
Is it better when it's colder?
yeah, just September, October is perfect time. I mean, you're almost wasting your money if you do it in the humid weather. Paint. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just-
Yeah, it needs to be done.
Interesting.
The whole name of the game is the wood is nice and dry,
Yeah, but November will be.
and then you get a reputable guy, and even then, it's paint is paint, right?
And if we do it in the fall and this guy cleans the gutters, that saves us a couple $100.
Mike from Newburyport Painting, this is one of the emails that John also forwarded to me, offered an alternative of just pressure washing, and then treating the building for mold and mildew. He's saying it does need painting, but it could wait if needed, but I think we've already decided we want to paint it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do it all at once, so. But really, John doesn't have any comments on any of these to speak of.
Well, if we really need to make the motion tonight, we can always do it to spend up to 14,000, couldn't we? And just choose one, once we look into that one a little more.
If we're not going to be doing it until October, or whenever, I mean, they may, the bids may change too. I mean, he may be busier, and, he might be available June, which is what Griffin says he's available, you can start working in June, but he might not have any work at this point, that's what.
Right, and we prefer to do it now. And really, the key is just that it's not humid.
I'm sorry?
Right, I mean, the key is that it's just not humid.
Right.
Temperature won't make a difference.
Yeah,
Not humid is pretty risky
You
around
don't
here,
want
so
to,
that-
you don't want
you
to
never
super
know.
cold night.
Right,
Yeah.
and we shouldn't have them, hopefully, yeah,
Right.
one never knows.
Yeah, I mean, cold, you don't want it too cold, but like if you wanted to do it in July or August, as long as it wasn't humid,
Yeah,
would
right.
actually probably cut down on the labor if it was warmer, because they could dry it out. Right.
So did John meet with all these guys, or is he just,
I think he did, I'm not sure, it's unfortunate that he's not here tonight.
can this wait till next meeting, or is John going to minutes to the next meeting, or? Seems like we have to get his recommendation.
Oh, I don't know why he's not here tonight, he just said he couldn't make it. Yeah,
And then what does everybody else think? We want to just pick one, or?
I'm wondering if we couldn't, can we approve one of them barring any negative review, or provided that they have proof of insurance and licenses, and, I mean, do approve it based on due diligence, and then, then obviously you can use it.
but are we gonna, we're leaving it up to Pam to do that, or are we asking John to do it again?
I say we ask John to do it, he's not.
Or the Building and Grounds Committee, whoever that may be these days. John's the only leftover on it.
Well, I mean, if it's just calling to ask for the proof of insurance and license,
They're all licensed. They're all
would we
insured.
still, but don't we want to see proof of insurance?
That's the easy thing, but
Yeah, and
contractors say,
They should be able to
Yeah.
get that,
Yeah.
right?
a lot of people say that they're sure and licensed still.
And Josh is already doing that.
So
I'd be
moving on.
afraid to wait until June, until the
July.
July meeting, and then by then they're busy,
Right.
midsummer.
So why don't we motion to the line, if you like, the Griffin?
I like
Okay.
And it's-
Motion up to approve,
Let's go on.
I don't know what to say, it's up to 11,320.
I think there's a little bit of clarification. We don't want to include the vine, the sheds,
The
right?
shed, right, so
Yeah.
that's not.
Right.
So that should be the max, yeah, that should be its
So
max.
So I think if we just-
11,320 is the max,
To
right?
accept the bid from Mike Griffin to report painting.
Columns included, but we might have to cut back the hydrangeas. I think that's what's not clear.
Okay. Well, we can approve the 11,320 as outlined in the bid, and then if it changes, we can approve an additional amount. I don't know if the
So-
hydrangeas are a problem.
With motion to accept the bid from
Mike Griffin, new report painting.
painting up to 11,320, pending some further clarifications and due diligence.
Did you make that motion?
Was that Mark?
I'm sorry?
Was that yours?
Did you make
Yeah,
that motion?
Yes. You
Okay.
want me to say it again, or?
I think I get it.
No, I'll second it though.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
All right,
you.
Mandy.
All right, excellent. That's been on the agenda for a long time.
I know.
Waiting on the quotes.
In fact, we
mostly.
started in winter thinking
Um,
we'll have time to line them up before their busy season.
And the roof leak update is the Plains Plan telephone tower. When is the next long range planning date?
June 27th.
So if anybody's available on June 27th?
Okay, that's to roll out the survey findings,
Yes,
and then the committee still has work to go from there to actually
Right, that's
pen
to-
to paper
yes.
Come up with kind of the goals,
and the green.
and then we come up with the actual action items to meet those goals.
Okay, so we'll be creating goals at that meeting,
Possibly.
and we're inviting all of the same people who's there.
It's June 27th?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
right
and
here in
we-
this room.
We
At
really
7.
wanted to get that done before summer. It's hard to schedule things in the summer, so it was either do it in June or do it in September. Given that the plan is due October 1st,
We didn't really want to
we
push it
figured,
too far.
let's really try and fit it into June, so.
Okay.
And Pam, you'll be presenting the findings at that meeting? Should you and I meet previously to go over the presentation?
Yes.
Let's schedule
Speaking of scheduling things, one subcommittee that we can't really put off is the one to do Pam's annual review, which I think is you, me, and Eve.
that. Yes,
Michelle?
it is.
Okay, so we need to schedule that. We don't have to do
Okay.
it right this second, but we don't want to let that go.
Okay.
There was no Friends meeting.
We get it F.
If anybody has comments or anything they would like,
Constructive feedback.
constructive feedback, send it to us. It's a form, just like most reviews are, so.
Do you want me to send the form out?
If you want to, sure. I'm not sure, I have a blank still. And last year it became this rather complicated Google shared doc, which I don't think, as long as everybody has Word, I think we can just stipulate. So there wasn't a Friends meeting this month, but there's an upcoming travel program next Tuesday. Spread the word.
That should be very cool.
Come on along. Fine, you.
I wish I could.
You think she'd let us?
I don't know, we can ask her.
Okay.
Anyway, the woman presenting happens to be a friend of mine, but she's doing pictures from places like Machu Picchu in Egypt and other places, so if know if anybody interested in travel. I only have 3 action items. Erin, I don't know if you've scribbled down more than that.
I didn't scribble any down.
Okay, so they're all for me or for Pam.
Okay.
And that was basically to email everybody the list again of all of these books, to email the subcommittee list again, to make sure everybody has it, and for me to contact Judy about the behavior policy and update.
Contact who about?
Judy Pickett, the town council,
Okay,
regarding our behavior policy, if there's any update.
okay.
And the other thing that I will email is I will suggest a rotation for signatures, so that everybody has a month that they're assigned signatures, and then if anybody has any problems with what I assign them, you can let me know.
So, refresh me on how that works again. You need just one signature, one trustee, or
I need the chair and 2 additional,
chair and 2? Okay.
yeah.
Next
It's
meeting
like
is,
once a week, right?
Next meeting
Bills,
is
payroll.
July
Bills,
16th.
payroll, bills, payroll.
I'm pretty much always available, I can be down, so.
Well, the other thing that often happens is someone comes in, and if you're here, look on my desk, if there's something to sign, and let everybody else know what the status
I'll
is,
send
if
an
one more are needed, or,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's handy is if we do have that last person saying signatures are all set, or the bills are all set.
So it's every, when do you time to be? So if you'll be here on Mondays, I'll come on Monday and I'll sign what needs to be signed.
well, what we've done in the past, and this is something you can think about, let me know next month if you want, but what we've done in the past is just assign 2 people a month. That way everybody has like every 3rd month that it's their responsibility. But if anybody wants to volunteer to be signer all the time, that's fine too.
It is something we've also discussed, is just having set signers,
Yeah.
and then you just find a sub if you're away on vacation or, something like that. I have to sign all the time, so.
And in the past, the reason we didn't do that was there was some concern that it should be a shared responsibility.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Check to make sure that we're spending the
And-
money the right way.
And we can continue to do what I've been doing since the election, which is let all 9 of you know, and whoever gets here first gets here first. But I think previous trustees got annoyed with the constant emails of,
Yeah, this way.
you
only
need to
signers-
sign,
yeah,
one more
signers-
needs to
Some
sign.
kind of a
Yeah.
schedule would be
Yeah,
good,
like a schedule.
yeah.
Okay.
Everybody's busy and,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just get your signals crossed sometimes.
And Pam's email usually says if you can't make it, let me know, so that she has to trip somebody else.
Yeah.
I'll just try to come in every Monday then and sign what you, but you just,
Yeah.
I'll just send out an email to everybody when I sign, okay, I've signed the first thing on the payroll, or, okay. So I can be here first.
All right, I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 10:39.
so moved.
Second.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. We got through a lot
After a
tonight.
couple months worth of stuff.
Well,
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what